welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Tonight, Boise State's League of Legends team is on the stream for the first time in this fall semester, and they're kicking off the UAL season with a matchup against Texas. The Broncos have a new look roster featuring 3 new faces in the top, jungle, and support. I'm your host, Michael Fisher. Joining me to call all of the actions, Jared Baratel Castiglione. And Baratel, I mean, that is the storyline for Boise State. 3 new members, top, jungle, and support. Which one has the most pressure for Boise State tonight, Baratel, if they want to pull out with a win?
It's such a cool question because this is an opportunity for the Boise State roster to reconfigure themselves. They can re-identify. We saw last season a huge emphasis on making sure that that jungle carry could be the big leading role in the storyline, but everything can flip-flop. You can have a carry support roaming around, making sure plays happening around the map. You can even have a carry top laner, split pushing within domination. So it's going to be really exciting to see. Me being a jungle main, I want to see that jungle role.
We take a look at how things are going to go down tonight in the UAL. It is a best-of-3 5v5 Summoner's Rift. No Vex this week. Potentially no Vex next week because she was released on a Wednesday. It kind of throws things in a loop. Boise State will be blue side for Game 1. After that, the loser of the game will then choose their side. Boise State and Texas going at it. And I was talking to some of the Boise State coaches, and I mean, this is no indictment of some of the rosters Boise State has put together in the past. I think a lot of players did a really good job of filling in. This is the first time that I've been a part of Boise State Esports that their League of Legends teams has 5 players playing their main role. And I think that is the one thing that is absolutely going to stand out to me as you see the roster, the lineup here. Elodad, Mortar, Ascent, Goblin, and Light Pulse. Of course, Elodad, Mortar, and Light Pulse, the 3 new members. Today's lineup brought to you by Count. Count Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, enables a personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. That's the thing for me, Baratel, that I'm super pumped about. Again, nothing against Goblin, nothing against Red Hots. They all filled in phenomenally. But the fact that we have, top lane, to me, the real top laner, that's something I cannot wait to see because it's just something I think Boise State can finally capitalize on instead of having someone who has to rotate up, kind of figure it out mid-season. Again, they filled in admirably, but now we get an actual top laner in Elodad. Cannot wait to see how he does.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as well. With a summoner name like Elodad, you have to wonder whether or not he's going to be like the tank watching over his children, as the father figure up in the top lane, or does he pull out a carry? Does he pull out like Camille or something spicy?
Well, as we hop into the draft, I do want to remind everybody on Twitch to support your team, celebrate the successes, be respectful to the other fans, and mods will remove anyone who violates the chat. As we're going to hop right into the drafts. Couple of champions that I think you and I are totally expecting to be gone right away. Zed, probably the first one going to be taken right off the table. The Longhorn mid laner plays a lot of Zed, potentially Urgot as well. I know one of their top laners we might see tonight has a lot of Urgot as we get into it. And there's the Zed Zinzao, and of course for Boise State banned against them, the Rumble. You knew that was coming.
I mean, one day someone will make a mistake yet again in future past, but it's not today, unfortunately. But the Bard coming out, very interesting. Light Post being new to the roster hasn't seen a lot of Boise State screen time, but you can definitely find some interesting plays by them there on the internet out there. Thresh following suit, a wonderful opportunity for Boise State to play a little bit hyper aggressive with not having to worry about the picks, but Kindred going to be answered from the side of the Longhorns.
That's an interesting choice.
These are very interesting, third round bans here. Yeah, in my opinion.
The Thresh is a weird one. Not something that really came up. Lee Sin, that Boise State I've heard is exactly what they want to do here. Lee Sin, a very popular pick, especially on the blue side. You first pick, you lock that in. Olaf for the counter for the side of the Longhorns. A very, very strong jungler in his right, and somebody who's going to hop on top of you. And the Amumu support. I've seen this a ton. The double Q is absolutely insane now. I'm curious to see how Texas pulls it out.
Yeah, not only that, but Amumu also offers a unique dynamic in which all 3 damage types are represented in the bottom lane. Magic, physical from your presumed AD carry, and true damage as well a little bit. So we'll have to see whether or not that plays a large role in making sure Boise State doesn't have a comfortable time. And we had mentioned that the Thresh was removed, kind of giving a little bit of a safety blanket away from the pick comp, but Amumu will definitely fill that role. Leona, Misfortune coming out with the Seraphine. This is a spicy bottom lane already.
The Seraphine was something you and I talked quite a bit about. There's a lot of Seraphine in the Texas.
All I saw was pink.
Yeah, all you saw was Seraphine's face staring right back at you when you looked up the OPGG for Texas. So I didn't think they'd pull it out. I thought they'd maybe go with more traditional, so there's going to be a lot of magic damage in that bot lane. Be curious to see how Boise State handles it. The Yone and the Gangplank. Gangplank is something that Elo Dad absolutely loves. I think it is his most played champion. LeBlanc also taken away from Texas, so some interesting bans there for Boise State in the second phase.
Yeah, I wonder what Ascent will kind of flex down to. Camille being banned, 2 top lane, maybe 3 if you want to put a Rumble up there. I haven't seen that in a couple seasons, but having an emphasis on priority picks and denies from the top lane carries could force something crazy out of Elo Dad.
Are you picking your top or your mid here if you're Boise State?
I think you pick.
Or no, sorry, if you're Texas. Texas gets the first pick. Sorry, my bad.
I think you pick your top lane because mid you want to leave for most matchups, you know, for the counter pick if there's one available. Top lane, even if you pick an unfavorable matchup, that's kind of that's the sword you fall on as a top laner. Yeah. I'll pick this because it's better for the team.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I think that the last pick here is probably going to be that mid counter pick. Very curious to see what comes out for the top lane for Boise State, because I know Gangplank and Camille are Elo Dad's 2 most played top laners. I mean, if it might go with that sort of, you know, role as you mentioned, the Corky
mid.
The Corky mid pulled out for Boise State. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting the Texas, you to pick your mid laner last, and there's that set. Just one of the safest top laners in the game, one of the best top laners in the game. Great picks there for Boise State.
Interesting fact about Set, has the highest win rate across the board as ADC.
Does look like
have a graphic here, but Gwen will be one of the picks.
So Gwen
for Texas.
Curious, probably top lane Gwen.
Yeah, it can flex mid, can even jungle, but I think top lane with how unruly and how aggressive it can be in terms of trading might be the opportune lane for her.
Curious what mid laner Texas would want to go with.
It's tough against Corky. You see, I mean, with Zed being banned, that would be the go-to.
Oh,
Akshan mid again, not having the graphic through Pro Draft, but Akshan going to be the last pick there for Texas. So that's a spicy setup. You know, picking up some of the more recently released champions might not be a bad call.
Yeah, going to be very interesting in that mid lane. You have a guy who plays a ton of Zed and a guy who plays a ton of Rumble, and we're going to end up with 280 carries. Yeah, Corky Auction. Not something you were expecting here. And so as we get done with the draft, I mean, which team do you like better coming out of it?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, from the mid down, I'll say, because we'll exclude jungle and top lane for a moment. I really do like the way that Boise State's kind of come together. They have a huge amount of poke. When Corky gets the package, it's a huge resource for engagement. It's got the AoE slow. They have the Make It Rain and Bullet Time combo from Misfortune on top of a Solar Flare. If any one or even 2 members from the side of the Longhorns gets picked out from those 3, they're not going to live for too long. The damage mix is too high. Alternatively, a Mumu support is quite devastating. Akshan, despite him being maybe not the character with the strongest ultimate, those auto attacks are huge. He's got so much mobility, can roam between lanes to help out the laners. And then beyond that, doesn't matter if you pop off, if Akshan can get that assist or a kill on you, the whole team's back. Yeah,
the revive from Auction is something we're going to have to keep an eye on. The one thing I am worried about for Boise State is they're going to have to get ahead early because it's something that I think Leona just has a very faulty problem with as a champion.
Yeah.
If you get behind early, your Leona has to go in to engage.
Yeah,
she can try and peel, but if Leona's got to go in and you're down 2-3K gold, you basically are in a 4v5. So that is my one concern for Boise State. As we get to Doc's keys of the game in League of Legends, focus on a strong comp, play to your composition, remember your win con, and Dragon Control. It's brought to you by Drop In Gaming. Drop In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop In Gaming is the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Boise State and Texas getting ready to go here in UAL game number 1. Fish and Baratel about ready to call all of the action here for you. And I think for Boise State, I agree with you. If Boise State gets ahead, there's not a whole lot they could do. I do like the Gwen maybe being able to use that mist on that bullet time that can shut down a ton of damage that Misfortune wants to do. And we haven't really seen Goblin on a champion like Misfortune. He was almost exclusively on the Ashe last season. It's still a champion he plays quite a bit. I think it is his most played champion. So that is a very interesting pick, and I think the big thing for me is how Boise State's going to respond on that Lee Sin. It's a champion that they immediately locked it in. You can tell they wanted it after it got through the ban phase. How Mortar plays for that Lee Sin on his first stream game is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I know that Goblin typically is a play for the team player.
Yeah.
Having misfortune with a huge AoE slow, a lot of mobility, really good damage, just baseline, and an AoE ultimate for team fights is great. Playing Ashe against Seraphine and Mumu would be no fun for anybody. So I'm glad that they maybe flexed off of that. And we hadn't really talked about the jungle top lane matchup. Typically what we see in the 2v2 situation, you have your jungler maybe want to get aggressive and invade. Your top laner's got to be there to back things up. I think Longhorns have a much stronger setup for those two.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that Gwen has dashes every time she pretty much auto attacks, and she doesn't have a lot of innate CC herself. Olaf has a Q that slows as long as he picks it up. So those two in tandem can run down the two members from Boise State's jungle top duo. But at the same time, the burst potential, if timed correctly, because you got, Resonating Strike and the Sonic Wave, those two combo together, and you have, of course, this full set combo, the one that does an obscene amount of damage, has to be timed perfectly or they will succumb to the damage from those two other members.
Yeah, my two questions for the top lane is going to be, what is Seraphine running for, or not Seraphine, excuse me, the Gwen running for Texas? Is it going to be that sort of like teleport ignite, just full YOLO build that we've
Most
seen
likely,
some people bring out? I mean, because if you don't have the flash, it is punishable, as you mentioned, though. She has so many dashes. I think you're totally right, though. If Boise State can line up that combo of the Lee Sin plus the showstopper from set, I mean, you take them away, you kick right back in. I mean, there's a ton of damage potential here. Actually, okay, I was going to say, let's see York and a Teemo, but no, that is the Gwen and the action.
No, it's a pro draft bug. It's not York.
We don't have.
Unfortunately.
Come on, put the Teemo in.
Akshan, it's Gwen. It's a bunch of fun.
One thing for Texas was they have a lot of AP damage as well.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of damage. And in fact, they don't have a traditional AD carry besides the one in the mid lane. It's not really something that you see often, a mid laner that can just be designed as an ADC but only played exclusively in the mid lane, but it's possible. What I need to ask Boise State is, who's going to be the set ult target? I mean, Amumu's not going to have any stats. You want to pull him back, but he's got 2 Qs to get back in action anyway. The moment he lands a bandage toss and drops the Curse of the Sad Mummy and everything, everyone's already locked in. You pull him out, doesn't matter. Olaf, he can turn off CC, doesn't matter. And you can't touch Gwen unless you're in that hexagon. So it's gonna be interesting.
I would assume his action, but that feels like one of those, sort of go with the flow things. If the Gwen gets really far ahead, you got to find a way to ult the Gwen. So I think it's gonna have to be a lot of pressure on Elo Dad to sort of figure out in game. Okay, am I going after Gwen? That's gonna be communication, a very strong point for Boise State. This team, we haven't seen them on stream. They did go to Hugh Fest, didn't get quite the result. I heard in one of their games. I talked to the coaches. They got out lane, but they were winning every team fight. Second game, the complete opposite. They were winning all the lanes, just getting out team fought. So they haven't been able to put together a complete game. Hopefully they're able to pull that off here against Texas in at least 2 of these games in the UAL. Get their debut going here with a nice 1-0 start. But I think you're right. The set target is going to be very interesting. And how the junglers want to play. We talked about Dragon Control Doc's keys. Is Lee Sin going to hover that bot lane? I mean, we were so used to last semester for Boise State. The jungler was basically always tunneling right into bot lane. If he wasn't, he was going into mid to help Ascent out. Is that going to be the case? Or maybe you see him more in that top lane. I think the same question for Texas. Where is that jungler going to go? Do they even run into each other, or are they just counter ganking at the same time as we get ready to kick off this matchup here between Boise State and Texas? Longhorn Gaming going up against the Broncos. First league stream of the season. Fish and Barrettell here. We could not be more excited. I'm ready to get into the game.
Great draft from both teams. Almost kind of synonymous with each other and on an even playing field. What's interesting, though, is the mascots are also similar in nature as well. A Longhorn, they're both on farms. The Broncos maybe not be fully tamed. The ultimate question is, who would win in a fight?
A Longhorn. I don't think there's an option.
Yeah, they got horns.
Yeah, it's in the name. Those things are big.
Those things are beefy.
Especially if they're from Texas. They grow them big down there in Texas. Those things are – Broncos not even getting close. So the real world matchup is unfortunately not very close. Hopefully the the Fields of Justice matchup is a lot closer than the mascot matchup would be.
You have to wonder whether or not Longhorns will play towards that top side. I mean, we've mentioned Gwen as kind of a nuisance just because of the fact that she's hypermobile.
Yeah.
Her damage is incredibly high, has a huge amount of sustain. If the resources are played well on the side of Texas and they're able to feed them into this Gwen, it's going to be hard for Boise State to come up with a way to answer her. I don't think they have a safe champion to answer a fed Gwen.
we do kick this game off.
Ooh, interesting. Doran's Ring Seraphine. Not very uncommon, sure, because of the fact that she's not playing the support role. But ultimately, you know, it's not something that you typically see in any Seraphine in the bottom lane.
I think the one thing that stands out to me is, you know, of course, with these lineups, teams do have subs. It's actually player number 6 for Texas, a player who did not play last week. And that could be the difference for the different champion play. I know you and I were kind of caught off guard by the Gwen. So a very interesting lineup decision by Texas to bring in Park number 6 for their first ever game in the UAL. Of course, it did start last week. Boise had to go with a reschedule. That's why the Broncos are still 0-0. So that is kind of the one thing that caught me off guard at first, is that Gwen and that Olaf, couple of members that we maybe weren't expecting to see.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Jinja banned away. I felt like we had touched on briefly that Olaf was a consideration. We've seen the Longhorns have some pretty good success, maybe in scrims or some just general practice. Looks like a late invade with the sweeper. Not gonna really find anything, as we see don't have anyone there near the red buff, and a great call from Boise State. Start on blue could also emphasize that they want to keep themselves on top side, but it could also mean that Lee Sin wants to go right to red after this.
Yeah, I'll be curious if we do get any vertical jungling going on with the buffs. Opshot are going to take some damage in the mid. That is Ascent, by the way. We know our players at Boise State love to get very creative with the names. You will have Opshot in the mid. That is Ascent. And Park down in the bot lane on that Leona is still Light Pulse. Boise State has not gone with crazy subs to catch us off guard. Nice grip in there by Elo Dad. So far, Lee Sin just hanging out. I don't know if they've picked up that Olaf is in their bot side jungle yet.
I don't think so either, but I mean, it could just be a matter of horizontal jungling. We see this all the time in professional play, so it's kind of not surprising to see it here. What is interesting, though, is the amount of pressure in this bottom lane from my DC Amumu alone has forced this Boise State squad to go down 6 CS so far. If you want to consider the coins there, it's an entire 9 CS down for Boise State.
That bot lane for Texas very aggressive, as you mentioned, denying a lot of the CS. So far, everything's been pretty quiet, despite that attempted aggressive start from Texas. They stole Boise State's buff. Immediately, we just start some vertical jungling. Player number 6 does a great job getting some pressure on Elo Dad. Pops the Q, trying to chase him down. Ooh.
Oh, what a fantastic block there from player 6.
Oh, we got a gank coming in here from Mordor. Double buff, not able to land the first Q resonating strike. Still being blocked by the minions. Here comes Elo Dad. Great flash in to grab him back, and Boise State's going to pick up first blood. Great flash by Elo Dad, pulling in the Gwen, picking up the first blood.
Yes, the Q was not thrown. Wait until the perfect time. Tempest Cripple, still a fantastic ganking tool. Landed in great succession. And that combo from Set will give the first blood over to Boise State.
Oh, look at this play from Texas.
Lee Sin as well.
They're 3-man rotating up to this top river scuttle.
And spotted.
Yeah, that's...
They want to get their Olaf fed. I mean, with that gank, you know that Lee Sin doesn't have the resources to maybe go straight to Scuttle Crab. Especially when you put your mid laner and your support up there as well. Putting him down about a full camp at least.
We're going to get a battle over the bottom rift scuttle, though. Light Pulse able to dodge some damage. Here comes Loopser. First Q able to land. Looking for another Q onto Goblin. Dodging well. Ignite comes through. Force the flash away. Ignite should be able to pick up the kill as Parch trying to run away. Ignited as well. Goblin does get slow. Flash right back to Opshot. Now he's going to be forced to W away as well. Lee Sin looking for a kick over the wall. Lands a Q onto the backing mid laner. Cry now taking a ton of damage, using the ward to hop. Another Ignite coming through. Mortar can't get in range. Park looking for the stun, able to land it. Boise State will trade 1-for-1 with each jungler going down. Nos now trying to run away from Goblin, who's putting in a ton of damage. They should be able to heal back up with the empowered W. And a crazy fight in the bot lane.
Yeah, all for a Scuttle Crab that still has yet to be picked up. So it's the matter of getting your jungler ahead of him, especially with Olaf and Lee Sin being the 2 junglers in the game. Getting them kind of launched into a lead could be so beneficial for either team. Fair trade in the top lane, not really going to result in much.
See the gold differentials there. Really the only one that stands out, Boise State support, is 400 gold ahead thanks to that kill that Park picked up. As we now have the Leona stuck. Gonna be forced to use the Hex Flash.
I don't know if that should be allowed. To let that, I mean, that was like a respect Hex Flash, I guess. That was completely punishable. You don't even have to go towards and try and fight the Leona, right? You just have to hit the dragon, make sure she gets knocked back, put her in combat, disable the Hex Flash. But I think instead they want to get this dragon with as minimal blood on their hands as possible.
Great job by Texas, capitalizing on Boise State's back. Does pick up the free Cloud Dragon. First one of the game, gets on that ult reduction, which is always very scary on champions.
Pretty scary for those champions.
Pretty much every champion they have.
Maybe not Akshan, but he's not, you don't use him for the
Gwen, the Seraphine, the Amumu, the Olaf, all champions that will take that free ability haste.
What's super cool, and I don't know if we had touched on this yet, but the Undertow, great slow in and of itself, right? But the Seraphine E to follow, if a target's slowed and Seraphine's E follows, it will be a root instead. So that means that anything that Undertow hits is subject to being rooted, and Boise State needs to be really careful about that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, all Olaf has to do is pick up the Undertow. It is very spammable as long as he has mana, but Boise State's looking for a tower dive in the top lane. Player number 6 using the dash, going to try and throw down that Hexagon, but can take damage as long as anybody else is inside of it. Elo Dad's got to be careful. Actually going to get a 2-for-1 trade under the tower. Not a very good play as we see Park going to engage in on Nass on the bot lane, lands the stun, going to try and run away from Goblin Loopers, taking a ton of damage. Only level 3 is that Amumu. Unfortunately, Boise State not able to get that, but what a play by player number 6 in the top lane.
Yeah, you cannot fight Gwen in a situation where she can get all of her sustained moves on 2 targets, but this Boise State wave has like 7 or 8 caster minions. This has been building up for 3 or 4 different waves, and they just wanted to crash that now, get as much damage there as possible. So despite what looks to be the top lane going a little bit haywire, Boise State is very much in the driver's seat in the bottom lane.
Best lane for Boise State in terms of CS with about an 11 CS lead. Opshot takes a decent bit of damage with that teleport. Great job by Crynell predicting that one. It is very obvious. And this top lane matchup is going to be very scary now for Elo Dad with that double kill onto Gwen, putting her right back in the game. Aggressive play for Boise State.
And I feel like, you know, they want to try and play to this top side to give Set a fighting chance against Gwen. But if you look at things logistically on paper, there's not a lot of situations in which Set can just 1v1 Gwen.
Ooh, Opshot runs from action. They're looking for an engage on the Nas. He does not have any mana on that Seraphine.
They want it. Oh, here comes another dive opportunity. Pushing forward to see if they execute this one a little bit better. Here comes the stun. Shield of Daybreak and the W to boot. Cashing in there will be Light Pulse, showing that they do have the light on their side here.
Never want your Leona to be up 2-0 with your AD carry having to.
Let her build damage. Let her go Triforce.
Bruiser Leona. Ooh, scary spot here. Yellow Bumblebee looking for a play. Park is incredibly low. Meanwhile, Opshot and Crynell getting a little bit of a battle. Teleport's going to come out from Elo Dad. They see it coming. Crynell stuck. Great kick right back into the set. And Boise State picks up a freebie there. Great job by Elo Dad teleporting in. No objectives at play, though, unfortunately.
Not yet, but a great rotation. Able to cash in on the assist gold there in the bottom lane. Walks up to mid-river and finds another one. You know, it's kind of the bane of a champion like Akshan. Because they have such ability to roam, you feel compelled to roam. And that kind of situation tends to bite you in the butt sometimes.
Great job by Boise State getting right in Texas jungle, and Texas really hasn't punished them too much. We saw that Hex Flash earlier on you were talking about. They, I believe, saw Lee Sin just taking the Gromp and decided it wasn't worth the fight. Now, of course, Yellow Bumblebee was a level down. Mortar making plays. Already, all 5 kills have come at the hands or been assisted by Mortar.
I really like this. Oh, sorry, engaging the top lane. Nice trade. Not going to result in much, though. As the scissors, snip, 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 will be activated and fully retain that health lead there.
We've got a battle.
Rift Herald. Olaf has the ultimate. Ragnarok will come out here. Trying to get the backslash on the eyeball, but can he find it? No! The Mortar will come through and slay. Get not only the Olaf, but the eyeball as well. Boise State making the proactive play, making sure that Goblin's comfortable. He doesn't even care about the wave. He's going to ult it off, knowing that he could be potentially dived. Wants to thwart that as his teammates are top lane.
Uh-oh, not again.
Gwen's the target. Can she pull it off again?
Now it's going to be a 1-on-3. Elo Dad going to try and pull her out of tower range. Nice flash there by Park. Stunned for eternity. But now Opshot in the mid lane. Meanwhile, has to worry. Crynell is going to pick one back up. Boise State trades 1 for 1. Should be able to hand over first tower to Elo Dad here, or at least pick up some plates. They'll be able to back.
Doesn't look like anyone from the Longhorns is going to contest this top lane push, so it should go unanswered. Nice trade there. Jobin continuing to keep himself relatively safe and going for one of my favorite builds, I think, on Misfortune Possible.
Full armor pen build?
Oh, the lethality build is so dangerous.
Lethality, my bad.
Armor pen, lethality, they're one and the same.
Second Dragon, though, and despite Texas' struggles, they're going to start this one up. Boise State does have the pings out. No teleport available for either top laner, so Gwen is stuck defending against Heraldina there. Boise State Mortar goes in with the Q, gets the steal. Curse the Sad Money does stun up Boise State. Park taking a ton of damage on that Leona. They are all incredibly low. Another great Q for Mortar, does get stunned up by the bandage toss. 2 already down for Texas. Great snipe there by Nos onto Boise State support. Does get that shutdown. Yellow Bumblebee trying to run away, and Boise State gets a 2-for-1 in the Dragon.
In 9 times out of 10 situations, that never happens because of the fact that Boise State didn't have resources. They didn't have.
What are you doing?
Oh, what the heck's going on? You're gonna go over. What? Hello? Goblin with the left clicks with the armor pen.
He's on a ward. Why were you standing there, Yellow Bumblebee?
It's gotta be silly right now.
Boise State absolutely dominating, taking over the Texas jungle. A great start here for the Broncos. They've shut down that Gwen. Still all 5 plates up for Boise State on every single turn. There has been 0 bonus gold so far for Texas. Meanwhile, Boise State's picked up 9 plates, 8 plates. That's a big reason why they have almost a 6K gold lead.
6,000 gold, and as we had mentioned, Leona's not too strong when she's behind, but this Leona on Light Pulse is anything but that. See the gold difference? It is a whopping 2,000 gold.
It's 1,500 in the top lane. We see this battle going out. Conqueror, full stack proc do come up for Elo Dad. Yellow Bumblebee rotating over, and a great retreat there by the set, but he's now getting dove on. 2 more members of Texas roaming up. Boise State will have no support for Elo Dad. He does have flash. Ghost pop by Yellow Bumblebee. Undertow's going to land the first time. Elo Dad's going to use a showstopper to create some space. Second Undertow does miss. Elo Dad going to use that full shield. Here comes Mortar in on the back line. He's going to be able to do enough damage. He jumps right on the Cry now. Kick away. Elo Dad picks up the first elimination. Mortar probably just going to back away, but a Q lands.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Player number 6 has to walk away, and it's Boise State's turn to turn a tower dive into a double kill. Got to be careful here against this Gwen. They handle it perfectly. 3 men enter, and none survive for Texas.
I must proceed to put my foot in my mouth. I would question whether or not the Boise State 2v2 could be played correctly, and you know, I'm pleasantly surprised they are playing this with perfect execution. In a 3 versus 2, they will cash in on 3 kills.
They just got that set so far ahead. Great use of the shield there. You did every single bit of it.
So incredible. And look at the way that Lee Sin was able to contest the Gwen, keeping her safe away from the set. When you challenge Gwen in her zone, a lot of players panic, right?
Yeah.
That's your safety net. When that's punctured, when the holes start seeping through, a lot of players have nothing to do but panic. This is going to be a Hex Blast dive.
Oh, no.
Oh, the shield of the Daybreak and the eclipse, the solar eclipse coming through.
Yeah, no.
You're just showing off now. Wars win wars.
Just walking right past Park. Great job by Park, a.k.a. Light Pulse. Stopping the back, realizing Crime now had no idea that he was just chilling there in that tri-bush. Boise State has built a 9,000 gold lead 14 minutes into this game.
And they're using their gold lead to such huge effect. We usually never see a Youmuu's Ghostblade anymore, but because of the fact that it is such a high valuable item to purchase, the gold value you get from those stats that are equipped with it are immensely worth it, especially on an ADC that likes to move with those short bursts of movement speed. Beyond that, we have the mask here on Leona, increasing all the damage that the champion she CCs receives. So that's going to be another huge boon as well. And then the double gore drinker, I mean, it's the best item in top lane. We see this fantastic play, the Dragon Steel, and the continued fight. Again, Boise State does not have Solar Flare, does not have any sort of follow-up with the bullet time, yet the resources from Texas were squandered as they did not stop any of Boise State members there.
And as you look at the Texas side, I mean, where are you wanting them, if they can come back in this game, where are you looking for that carry to come from? I mean, you see the Seraphine 1-0, 112 CS. I mean, Gwen, despite being 2-4, does have a decent lead. As we get a teleport coming in here from one of the members of Boise State, it's not even going to matter. They kill Seraphine before the teleport stops. Elo Dad picks up one more onto Loopsters. And I'll continue the question. If Texas is going to come back, can't make plays like that, who does it got to come through?
They have to acquire the mythics. We're seeing a mythic with top laner.
Yeah.
The mid lane does not have a mythic item. And the support doesn't have one either. Yes, Amumu won't have the biggest impact, but if they end up cashing in on the Locket of Solari, it's going to be huge to stop some of these crucial burst moments for Boise State. So I think they just need to maybe play a little bit of a slower pace and farm up till they get those crucial items. The only thing to counteract that is we now see Corki has their Immortal Shield Bow. Beyond that, they've got a fully stacked Cole, or reverse stacked, however you want to call it. And then most importantly, that Mirror Mana is about to come online. And the way that Mirror Mana works on Corki is insane.
Oh, speaking of Corki, going to use that package to get right on top of the Olaf. Using that Ragnarok, still going to burn down. Ascent.
The heck is that W damage?
That is
the package is too much.
Busted.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be able to pick up Dragon for free. Second Rift Herald for free as well.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's looking scary. But again, there's still moments of opportunity. Texas has the ability to say, if Boise State members pop off one by one, then all Akshan needs to do is take out one of those members, and then the whole team fight's flipped on its head. But you're
1,000 gold down in every lane.
Gold behind just in the mid lane alone. Yeah.
Every lane is at least 1,000 down. Some 2,000. Oh, and actually, none of them are even 1,000 down. They're all bigger than that. I mean, the gold lead is over 10K. We're all exactly at 11K. I mean, Boise State is just taking over this game. Now,
we've seen in times past Boise State getting a huge lead such as this, but not finding an angle to close out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of now time to see whether or not this new roster has figured out a way to close out these games with these huge leads. You very rarely need more than a couple thousand gold of a lead to end a game, let alone 10,000.
I mean, this all comes back to the action you were mentioning. If there's a champion that can reverse a fight, it is the action, especially if player number 6 gets taken out, you get the revive, you immediately can get that teleport to come right back into a fight. So I think Boise State's primary focus has got to be the action just for how strong that passive is. Player number 6 is scary, though. Despite the huge lead that they set up for Eludad, player number 6 does have the level advantage at level 12. Actually, the only player at level 12 in the game, so highest overall. That Gwen can get very scary if we can get online. Has finally finished her mythic item.
Yeah, Riftmaker, a huge purchase. It's one part of the 1-2 punch of the Riftmaker Nashor's Tooth. And after that, I mean, you really don't. Every other item's a flavor item, and I think that's what they're trying to do. The Engage here's coming out. Here come the Needles as well. Olaf with the Undertow. But the Showstopper will be here, and the Engage will be huge. Unfortunately, Boise State's members are in the tow, and here comes the bullet time, ripping asunder the health bars from Texas. The Longhorns need to charge away, but they cannot, and a triple kill will go over to Ascent.
Ult's going to come out here from Nas. It is going to land onto Ascent. Actually going to swing in.
This is the
Looking
revive.
For the revive. There it is, the 3-man revive. They do pick up a kill. And now Boise State has to try and hunt down this action, trying to run away. Q just barely going to miss here for Mortar. Should be able to get this one. There's still a tower there. Finally does pick it up, but the triple revive absolutely stops Boise State from pushing, and that is why Auction has got to be the #1 target.
Yeah, things were looking extremely dangerous there for Texas if they didn't turn that around the way they did. The gold lead still being 10,000 over to Boise State, sure, but it would have been a much bigger canyon to try and traverse if they had not got that triple revive.
Oh, that's probably Super Minions top lane. They had Herald pushing. They would have gotten the ace eventually if that was any champion but Auction. So, I mean, that just saves Super Minions. And, I mean, you can debate all you want if getting Supers 20 minutes in is worth it because you sometimes let your opponent in. I know some people, especially yourself, are a believer of that, Baratel. But anytime you have Super Minions sub 20 minutes, that's just a huge morale killer of anything.
Yes, and you can argue that it gives you more farm and yada, 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 but those guys are painful and difficult to kill.
And they don't have great wave clear for Texas.
That's also true. It's like, it's literally just Auction Q, really.
Yeah, and Baron is going to spawn. They're going to jump right onto Park. Loopster lands the first bandage toss, but that Leona is so incredibly tanky, not scared of anyone. Ends up landing the E. Nice use of the Hexagon there by player number 6 to dodge the Resonating Strike from Lee Sin. Second one is going to land. Does he take it? Yes, he does. Gets right into the fight. Does get charmed up, though. Bullet time coming through. First shutdown going to go on to Loopster. Boise State trying to finish off the fight. Olaf incredibly low, looking for a little bit of extra damage. Now Ascent's got to be careful. It's a shutdown. Ult's going to come out here. Ascent going to be taken out. Does get one in exchange, and Boise State gets way too aggressive and gives up a 1-for-4 and Baron.
Yeah, they played into the perfect setup for the Texas comp there with the Seraphine ult, with the Mumu ult, with everything going well for them. It ended up just being too catastrophic, and unfortunately it gives over the Baron to the Longhorns.
No contest here from Elo. That does have the teleport, but I don't think it's worth it even with the low health bars.
We often criticized how lackluster the inventory for the Longhorns have been so far. They're online now. They have their crucial items. The Locket's there, Kraken Slayer and Auction. We, of course, have the Riftmaker, and soon to follow looks to be a Zonia's instead.
Yeah, say Zonia's not a Nasher too, but
yeah,
no
I think it's better so they can continue to dive while their teammates get there. But we see on the other side, Boise State's been full inventory, minus the fact that Goblin has opted for a more play for team inventory here. They have the Grievous Wounds there with the 800 purchase on Execution is calling.
Yep.
They have the Yamus to get themselves to places quickly, and then the Serpent's Fang for the shield damage. There's no Mythic so far in Misfortune.
Expect Goblin to pick that one up soon. Boise State will get a second Mountain Dragon, their third of the game, put themselves on Soul Point for the next one that'll spawn here.
I think what Boise State needs to do is give over Mountain Soul, so Serpent's Fang always does extra damage.
I don't know if I like that. That is a bit much. Ooh, Cry now going to be forced to do his best Indiana Jones impression away from that solar flare.
Okay. I'm very impressed by Cryonow's build path. Kraken Slayer, Blade of the Rune King. Two items that completely shred tanks. And look at Boise State's front line. They have Leona. They have a Lee Sin who's getting beefy. They have a Set who has nothing but health. It's perfect combo.
Trying to use that. But good news for Boise State is that Baron buff is being used to take out Tier 1 towers.
Yeah, that's a fair trade. Tier 2 for Tier 1, they'll take it.
Yeah, they do get
They lose
the
2
top
Tier
lane.
1s. Maybe not the most worst.
Again, they have 5 turrets. I mean,
Yeah.
Boise State has every Tier 1 turret down now. Tier 2 down in the top and the bot lane. I mean, that's if you're Boise State, you are fine not worrying about Baron and just saying, okay, you use your Baron buff to take out towers that we took out 5 minutes ago. That's a great trade for them.
That's fair. It's all about the time commitment, right? And there comes the Zonias. So it looks like, with Boise State having a little bit of a hyper AD comp, we don't see a lot of magic damage on either team, really. Corky sans from that because Corky's a different champion, guys.
He's still working on finishing.
He went with the Essence Reaver first, which I think is powerful because he has so many ways to quickly activate Sheen, both with the missiles as well as the Phosphorus Bomb, things like that. He's able to get those burst damage opportunities out. And it gives you CDR and keeps your mana nice and healthy. Now, okay. Looking for some vision. We're both like, okay, what's happening? What's going to happen?
I thought he looked at just going to face check that. I think if you're Olaf, you probably could have held the undertow and baited in a face check. Baron buff will be fading in the next 10 seconds. Akshan trying to use those fleeting moments of the empowered minions to get down that bot Tier 1. He should be able to. He's got to be careful.
I mean, he's worried about rotation, but I think the members from Boise State are completely seen right now from the rest of the roster, so he'll full commit to this, get a third and final Tier 1 tower. Boise State, of course, still having that tower lead with those 2 Tier 2s falling. And they did not actually cash in on the mid one just yet for the Tier 1 on Boise State side. And I don't think they're going to give that up without a fight.
Auction looking for maybe a jump onto Ascent. Does have the level advantage.
And we can't see this, but I do believe in this kind of situation, Auction has the tracking of the Vandal, which is these kind of tiny, almost, I would say, Rek'Sai type footprints on the ground. He knows that Corky's here, especially with the vision. Here comes the 1-for-1. So much damage. It's going to be traded back and forth. Here comes the TPs across the way. The ultimate will pop the shield bow. Corky going to do what he can to keep himself alive, but the runaway immediately from this side. And Gwen TP'd into disaster, trying to help a teammate. Will dash over the wall and get themselves to safety. But Boise State, resulting in reacting to the proactive play on the side of the Longhorns correctly, forces a disadvantageous and full retreat TP from the Gwen top lane.
That is a huge TP because Gwen is starting to come online. She's level 15, highest level in the game. Player number 6 has done a great job despite being the target of Boise State's aggression all night.
Gwen is essentially just a better KO. It's a ticking time bomb of their own sense, and once that timer's up, it is dangerous to try and fight them. But we have Boise State had a ticking time bomb of their own that's finally clocked in as well. The Mirror Mana coming online means that Boise State can just protect the Corki, this character that has easily gotten a triple kill, 2 kills, double kills left and right in these team fights. And with Akshan on the enemy team, if you have a member of your roster, your draft, that can pop off that hard, you need to full commit to protect.
Everybody kind of just dancing around. Both Baron and Dragon are going to be up soon. If you're Boise State, you take the Dragon for Baron trade where you pick up Baron and you really don't care if a second mountain goes over to Texas. If you're Texas, do you bait in Boise State to go for that Mountain Soul and try and immediately jump on Baron?
What's up first?
Both going to be close.
It's going to be really close. It's a matter of seconds.
I think if you're Texas, you maybe.
I think you have to fight for soul prevention.
As much as I want to agree with you, I don't mind trading soul for Baron. Boise State will take that trade any day of the week, though. I think Boise State prios Baron here 100%. We're about to have a team fight. 4 members stand on a ward. There is the spawn for Baron. Or for Dragon. Baron's still a little bit away. Mortar's going to land the first one, give all that vision away. Huge use of the shield. Crystal Sad Money going to land on both members of the back line. Goblin forced to flash away. Looking for a bullet time. Heal comes out. Park forced to be able to flash as well. Boise State taking a ton of damage. Mortar in on the back line, but he has no support. The package is used. Done a ton of damage to Cry now. Shield mode not enough to save him. And Boise State, thanks to Mortar on the back line, picks up 2. Seraphine goes down as well. Yellow Bumblebee can just hope to run away. But Boise State is going to pick up the ace.
Oh my, that was so close. One more set of Reckless Swings, and that was it. Bronco ace will come out, though. Boise State finding an angle, and that was insane. If it were not for Mordred flank and the Corki package, that was completely a lost team fight.
Yeah, Mortar dies to Cry now if that Corki package does not come in and do some serious damage. That was a great job by Loopster, by the way. Landed a great Bandage Toss right on the Park. Hit both Goblin and Light Pulse with that Curse of the Sad Mummy. Goblin took so much damage.
Right. And we saw Set using the ultimate to just get back to the back line for his own team. Despite Elo Dad trying their best, there's, again, not really good targets on the Texas lineup for him to ulti. Once again, as we saw, Mumu was able to get into the backline, do full combo, and it doesn't matter if you take Mumu out at that point. Olaf can't be stopped. Gwen was able to protect themselves. There was just no angle, but they're going to re-engage here. So much damage, going to be engaged. The kick away. Got to be careful. Mordred and squad have fully retreated. Some of the members have already recalled. Boise State playing a little bit with their food a little bit, but all in good fun.
Boise State has kept Texas in the game with their aggressive plays. They get the Gwen alt pop, but with the ability Haste player number 6 has, that should not be an issue. So they pick up Mountain Soul, so they get the shields now. Vertel's meme dream of handing over Mountain Souls so that the Serpent Fang works a little bit more for Goblin has ended. We do see Boise State gets the Baron as well. Now, what play do they want to make with the Baron is the first question, because right now they're just kind of using it to farm when this is when you need to step on your opponent's throat, get a lane or two.
Especially with the shield that you have here, you need to group up. The next objective will be that Elder Soul, and that will be a game-deciding factor either way. Great opportunity for Boise State not having to choose between the biggest neutral objectives. They get both. What do they do with it is truly the question. They're going to continue to push mid. No challenge just yet, but the wave clear is still found lacking on the side of Texas. That's why they're going with this 1-3-1 comp.
Oh, Loopster's going to go in and lands a Bandit Toss onto a cannon enemy. Curse the Sad Money. Not enough to save him, but Boise State has to retreat. We get the Ragnarok pop there. Cry now right in the fight, immediately taking out. Gwen's not going to be able to do anything, Hexagon or not, and it's all up to Yellow Bumblebee trying to run away, trying to buy time. Boise State will fall for the bait, but I don't think it's going to matter. They have Baron-empowered minions, and they are shoving down this Texas base.
Got the Q.
It's like just a matter of time. Reckless Swings does pick up one, but I don't think it matters. Boise State has readjusted their focus. It's on to the Nexus. They'll pick up one for the road after the stopwatch fades.
The stats. That'll do it.
That'll
Boise
do
State
it.
Gets the first blood in the series.
That's a great job by Boise State. Scary at times. Don't forget, Idaho Army National Guard, a proud supporter of Boise State Esports. Top plays at the end of every show are presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Baratel, before we go to break, your quick thoughts on Boise State's Game 1 win over Texas. Dominant at times, but a bit sketchy as well.
Sketchy as well. It almost looked like Boise State found themselves in the lead and stumbled and fumbled themselves out of a place to win, giving that advantage over to the Longhorns. But inevitably, when it comes down to it, that lengthier team fight and those double flank plays continue to provide Boise State with the catch them at surprise angle. So we'll have to see whether or not the adjustments can come through for the Longhorns.
Well, we will take a short break. Can Boise State wrap up this series in a hurry? Maybe we'll have a Game 3. The Longhorns showed some fight, even though it was a dominating win for Boise State. Find out after this break.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Boise State kicking off their League of Legends season in the UAL, taking on Texas. Broncos with 3 new faces on the roster, and those 3 making a name for themselves in that game number 1 win, especially Elo, Dad, and Mortar in the top lane and the jungle, respectively. Mortar spent a lot of time up there, and with good reason. Once Elo Dad got ahead, that Lee Sin was able to kind of use those assists and a couple kills he picked up on Gwen. And absolutely turned the game around here. Fish and Baratel calling all the action. And Baratel, I mean, if you're Texas, what is your response? I mean, maybe you potentially ban the Lee Sin away, or you take blue side and force Boise State to potentially ban it away themselves. I mean, what do you think Texas needs to do here in game number 2 after a game that was close, but again, Boise State had like a 10K gold lead from about 12 minutes in. When it was close, it was like a 7K gold lead.
It's tough. I think Lee Sin was definitely a thorn in the side of the Longhorns. But I think that's because, by comparison, their Olaf did not have a lot of agency within the game. Yes, they pulled off a couple of those weird undertow interactions both in the top and bottom lane, but other than that, Olaf's just like a DPS check. You know, just, oh, he's a meat shield and he slows me and runs at me. He doesn't take reduced damage. We'll just kill him.
Now, I think the Olaf pick was very interesting. I think if you want to play Olaf, they tried to play it right, which was invade or attempt to invade Mortar at his red buff, be able to then maybe force a jungle engagement, because that is what Olaf is known for, is those early jungle 1v1s where he can pick up a ton of kills.
Right.
So you take a look here at the rules. Best of 3 heading into game 2 with Boise State on match point. 5-on-5, Summoner Rift. No Vex this week. We know Boise State was blue side for game 1. We'll see what Texas wants to pick for game 2. I would assume you pick blue side and either force Boise State to ban the Lee Sin, or you just first pick it. Don't know Bumblebee's familiarity or comfort really with Lee Sin, but it's such a strong champion. It always has been. He really has never been changed. That I think it's something he could easily pull off.
Yeah, and then beyond that, I think maybe you can even put yourself on the side that has first pick in general to make the bans become more priority. Because we know that the Longhorns have a couple staple champions that will really give a tough time to Boise State if they were able to see the Rift. And if you configure the bans, you know, the way that they are oriented to favor that, you know, you can only get 3 eliminated from your pool. That could be the turning tide for them.
Let's be honest. There's really only 2 bans, because we know Rumble's going to be banned, and we know Zed's going to be banned.
Oh, I'm saying like to be their bans to be taken away, like the Zed, the Xinjiao, you know, things like that.
No, I'm just saying, like, overall, there's really not 3 bans in Phase 1. There's 2. Because we know Rumble's going to be banned by Texas.
Gone,
and we know Zed is going to be banned by Boise State. I mean,
that's fair.
You know.
Let them both go through, actually.
I don't know.
That's a really interesting matchup, by the way.
Rumble into Zed?
Yeah. I guarantee that Ascent's played it before.
Oh, 100%. Zed
it's a skill matchup until level 6, and I think Zed just doesn't. He's not fun. He doesn't produce fun for the enemy.
There's no counterplay. Your counterplay is by Zhonya's.
That's true.
So I don't think Zed or Rumble are seeing the Rift, though. I think the second and third bans are going to be interesting. Xin Zhao, I mean, depending on which sides get picked here, is going to be very interesting. So we do hop into game. Does look like Texas has popped pick the blue side there. So we will look to see what they want to ban. This is all, of course, from game 1. This is not. We're not already done. Boise State did not ban their own Rumble.
Run it back. This time, Texas has actually picked up the Teemo and the Yorick this time.
No, Boise State has actually legitimately picked the Teemo.
That'd be cool. I'd respect it.
The Bard one is an interesting one to me. I'm curious if Texas will bring back the Bard ban.
Maybe. I mean,
because we did see Light Pulse roam quite a bit. Not as much as the Amumu attempted to.
Right. But that's kind of the playstyle that Light Pulse can adapt really quickly on a champion that has such prominence doing so. Bard is one of the best roaming supports in the game. You just get him near a wall. Big surprise, Rumble's out of the Rift.
And let's
Zed.
Show me Zed.
Show me Zed for 100.
There it is.
Bing, bing, bing.
Put it up on the board. Now this is where last time we saw Texas ban Xin Zhao and Bard. Or not Bard, so not Xin Zhao, sorry. Bard and Kindred. I'm curious what the Lee Sin's the pick. I want to see what Boise State does with it, because Texas could easily just first pick it. If Kindred gets banned, I mean, you kind of starting to reach deeper into Mortar's pool. Is this the Lee Sin?
Maybe banned, or they banned Thresh again? Because Thresh would be weird here.
Now, Thresh was an interesting choice for Boise State. The Texas support. You know, there's the Lee Sin ban. Yeah, Boise State does not want to hand that one over. Do you run it back on the Olaf?
On the side of the
Texas,
Longhorns?
yeah.
I don't know. Oh.
This could be Echo mid, though. This might not be
Echo mid
jungle.
or Echo jungle, yeah. That's kind of the coin flip, right? We'll have to see what the rest of the draft shows. I think that Echo really has a really good time in both. I mean, jungle gives them an opportunity to collect Dark Harvest stacks across the map, and mid lane Echo's pretty difficult to deal with by anybody.
I like this Boise State pick here. Just stick with the same bot lane. Don't give away too much information. See if you can figure out where that Echo is going. Ezreal is an interesting choice. Ezreal Yuumi.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
I see what kind of team you guys are rocking. Now, Ezreal Yuumi, that's powerful in and of itself. Have you thought about Echo Yuumi yet?
That Yuumi is going to have a lot of very fun targets. The Jarvan, picked up there by Mortar, seen him play a little bit, always a strong champion.
It can be Jarvan top.
I don't think we're going to see Jarvan
It's
top.
possible.
We do get the Corky ban. That is
It's a respect ban.
interesting.
The packages were really difficult for the Longhorns to deal with because of how lacking they were with deep vision. So I think that's a great pick. The only problem is there are a lot of champions that can abuse that regardless. And the Olaf ban coming through, they're choking out the jungle pool for Longhorns? Okay.
They're fully believing this is an Echo mid lane. There is that Gangplank ban as well.
Guess
which
what's still alive?
Camille.
Yeah.
Camille's still left up there. Somehow Boise State top laners always love Camille. I don't know why.
Because she's cool. She's got scissors for legs.
Oh, wow. They are really choking out the jungle pool.
Good.
For Texas.
Now,
where does Bumblebee go from here?
there's a couple options.
Right
Set's
there.
one of them. You can flex set jungle.
I would assume I assume standard set, maybe.
I'll probably set top lane.
Yeah, I think
for
this is
just
set
whatever.
top.
You just throw set up there because he deals very well with a lot of different matchups.
Literally
Even
everything.
the Camille, yeah.
Yeah,
Camille's burst is actually counterintuitive against set because you give him the bigger shield quicker.
Ooh, the Kassadin pick.
Interesting. I like Kassadin a lot, actually. Interestingly enough, Kassadin has a
There's the
2% higher win rate with Sona on their team.
I don't know what to do with that information considering there's not a Sona in the game.
I'm
but
just letting you know. But
now I
Camille
know
does
for my
come
solo
out
queue.
against set. That's going to be an interesting and spicy one.
So now we figure
Let's
out
see what the jungle last remnants are. It could be. So it is going to be jungle
Echo.
set?
I think jungle Echo.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's one of the two. Yone is not a good jungler. Trust me, I've tried.
That was a great job by Texas.
Great
Faking
flex,
out
yeah.
Boise State, flexing that Echo, forcing out a ton of what seemed to be unnecessary bans, unless that was a last second, we already got Echo, I'm just going to jungle him, why don't we pick Yon and maybe try and counterpick the Kassadin situation coming out there.
Think about that setup, though. I mean, the Longhorns drafted a fantastic 5v5 and a great pick comp. I mean, so many members for the Longhorn side of things can really escort Yuumi into a place to do the final chapters. And that CC alone, with how much damage is behind it, could be enough for them to get that pick. Alternatively, Boise State sticking to what works could also benefit them as well.
As we hop into Doc's keys, they are focused on a strong comp. Play to your comp, remember your win con, and Dragon Control, which Boise State did a fantastic job of in that game one, picking up the Mountain Soul. It's all brought to you by Drop In Gaming. Drop In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite game to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Well, speaking of control, Boise State also has a great way to control the fights, not only with the Cataclysm, but also with the Hextech Ultimatum, the latter of which, of course, you really cannot get out of. So if you're Boise State, I mean, who are you looking to try and land those on? Because as you mentioned, a lot of these champions for Texas not only have great escape, they're also going to have the Yuumi kind of pocketing them to give them almost a one-on-two in those Thunderdomes.
There's a small window to exploit whoever Yuumi's attached to. Cataclysm, in addition to the Hextech Ultimatum, provide an instant lockdown for, let's say, Ezreal, or again, whoever Yuumi is attached to. Yuumi has to then to decide, do I split now and force myself to be exposed to two dangerous members of Boise State's squad within these two ultimates before I can attach to someone else? Or, and do I abandon this person that just got picked, or do I stick on them and risk myself getting picked after they fall? It's an interesting choice. It really kind of comes down to it, but truth be told, whenever I say Yuumi or Soraka, if you focus them, you usually win.
Focusing the Yuumi a bit harder than focusing the Soraka, since you have to kill 1, 2, 3, maybe even all 4 members before you do get to the Yuumi. I do think my one concern for Texas is this is either going to go really well and they're going to kill everybody because that is a ton of damage on their side.
Yeah.
Or they're just not going to have a front line. I mean, it's basically going to be up to Set, who, assuming it's a similar build to what we saw from Elodad, is more of a health priority build than an actual armor and magic resist priority build. So you're just kind of making yourself beefy but not so much tanky. Because there's a lot of damage. I mean, Yon's going to put out a ton of damage. If Echo can get ahead early, pick up some Dark Harvest stacks, as you mentioned, in that jungle where we assume he's going, he can also output a ton of damage. Ezreal can just sit at the back line and poke away. I'm really worried if Leona lands an EQ combo onto somebody there with the Zenith Blade. That person could just die because they're not going to have any defenses.
It's tough. They don't have a lot of tanks to put themselves forward. What you can do in the set lane specifically against Camille is opt for an early Bramble Vest in addition to your Bomby Cinder and then go a tank build. It may seem kind of troll, but your Q works really well with the Chem Tank item, the speed up that you get, and you have a lot of team fight presence, and you are tank. So we'll have to see. Doran Shield, typical start. Looking across the rest of the items, Doran Shield for both mid laners is going to be a bit of a weird one. But now, the most interesting thing I see here is Longsword, not on Misfortune. That's pretty common because you want to rush down the Yomus. But Longsword Ezreal start. Now that's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, usually not what you would expect. I guess Nos is just trying to output as much damage as possible because that is where Texas had a nice early advantage, was that damage they put out in that Seraphina Mumu bot lane in game 1.
Yeah.
I would expect they want to do more of the same. We see Elo Dad this time, the one giving up the flash for the teleport and the ignite.
Yeah, it also has grasp, but that means that they want to continue to trade within those short 4 to 6 second windows of grasp of the Undying being available. What's interesting as well is the fact that a lot, if not all of these characters on the Boise State side do benefit from getting their auto attacks out quicker. Jarvan's got an auto attack speed buff.
That is true. The standard, not only known for the flag and drag, also does slowly buff your teammates. Also gets a great snipe if you want to play AP Jarvan.
Oh yeah, the swag flag.
Does not look like we will see any invade this time from Yellow Bumblebee in Texas. Curious if Jarvan will want to go up top lane and maybe try and continue to make plays for Elo Dad like we saw in game number 1, or if he's just going to go for the standard build.
I think ganking top lane with Camille is great because hookshot counters or combines really well with the flag drag combo. You get the attack speed. Here comes an engage the bottom lane, level 1. Nice trade, but it won't be enough to get any kills out. Force Yuumi to use 33% of your mana. Great call.
That's when you know you're in for a long game, when you're cheering mana usage early on.
I like to take my advantages where I can. Yeah, the silver lining may be thin, but it is there.
Does look like Jarvan is going to go for this standard red down to blue. Maybe look to make a play either at a Rift Scuttle or make a play in that mid lane before Crynow gets all of that mobility.
I wonder if this matchup is something that's common with the Yone player because we typically never see Kassadin, let alone Kassadin versus Yone. If Yone doesn't force this advantage pre-6, Kassadin literally wins the game at 6.
Kassadin,
Rip Walk is the best ability in the game.
It is so hard to catch him. You get a great counter onto them as we see a ton of fighting going out. Elo Dad taking a decent chunk of true damage and not able to escape that center line, but a great ricochet on the Q there from Goblin, putting in quite a bit of damage onto Nos. There's Jarvan waiting in that tri-bush, looking for the flag and drag over the wall. I think he was standing on a ward, though.
In the bottom lane?
In the bottom lane. Ooh, Elo Dad not able to get the hook shot out.
He does have flash. He might just go for the lockdown with the EQ combo. They're going to dive. It's just
go.
one member. They only have to target one thing. There goes the explosion. So much damage. And they will take out one. Yuumi will need to reattach to something quickly. The Ignite will be put down onto Jarvan, and they will walk away. But for a moment, and a flash away. But they've left Goblin behind. He does still have flash available. Yone has effectively wasted this this TP. Here comes the mid lane fight, though. Nice engage. The slow will be there, and the stun will also go through. But luckily for them, that magic shield from the Null Sphere. Great idea for kind of counteracting the burst from Echo. Grand play from Boise State, and a very well executed dive that could have went very bad.
That was moments from disaster when you see everybody move out and Goblin looked like thought they were going in. Elo Dad not having a fun time against Set. Get a little bit of his own medicine there. He's going to be able, this time, hook shot away.
I think he just resets.
Teleport
trade in the mid lane, but again, so much damage being traded away. And the Electrocute giving just that extra oomph in these kind of bursty trades that both these champions are using that the Conqueror can't kind of sustain back up just yet.
Like Jarvan and Leona are waiting in that mid lane to see if Crynow wants to make a play.
Nice dodge.
Boise State is trying to bait him. Nice hook shot stun there.
Here comes the big shield. No, does not have it yet. Might go for another dive here.
Oh, here we go. Hex flash over the wall. They know he has to come back to the E. Kassadin just soaking all of the turret shots, but I think Mortar's dead, but he didn't get touched.
Wow.
Here comes Yellow Bumblebee, though. He's going to pick up 1 kill in return, stunned too late. So it ends up being just a 1-for-1 trade for Boise State.
1-for-1 trade, and at the end of the day, it did cost Echo their flash. Jarvan not getting themselves kind of in a position where they had to use summoners. They used it in the bottom lane. Gets executed there as well.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's really big because Yone would have desperately loved to cash in on at least one kill there.
Ooh, Elo Dad taking a ton of tower shots there.
Goes for the call as well, which kind of instigates a passive playstyle for the rest of the laning phase. Doesn't really provide a lot of combat power, if you will. Gives you the opportunity to farm and kind of keep yourself healthy on the minions with that lifesteal, but other than that, not really a huge boon. And we see again, Executioner's calling first item consistently on Goblin, a huge, again, force of supporting the team through your ADC.
Wants to really shut down that bot lane of Yuumi.
And you have the Echo's ultimate to cut down as well. I think it's a great idea. I just wonder if it's too early. Probably not. I don't know.
It does feel a bit too early. If you're looking for a kill in bot lane, it's not too early, right? Because you're trying to limit the amount of sustain Yuumi can bring to the table, but I think there are stronger items. But I mean, then again, you look at Goblin, highest farm in the game, plus 20 now on that Ezreal, the player number 6, not just actually able to dodge that hook shot. If that had landed, you know Mortar was going to go in.
I think Mortar just queued the wave. Didn't even drop down the standard to follow suit. Wants to go back to farm a little bit. And again, Jarvan can effectively gank from level 2 through the rest of the game. But Cataclysm is such a huge ultimate and when it comes to ganking a lane.
At top lane, you see there, just the farm difference. 500, almost 600 gold difference between that set and that Camille. Meanwhile, about a 600 gold lead for Goblin in that bot lane thanks to all that CS and the kill. So pretty even across the board. Boise State with a very small gold lead thanks to their slightly better farm numbers in mid and in the bot lane.
Ascent is completely nullifying this Yone's ability to kill him early levels.
Which is what every Yone wants to do.
Yeah, they just want to fight. That's why he continues to throw E's out there. But again, with maybe the lack of practice for this particular matchup, it's hard to realize what you can and can't do. Yone gets a speed buff when he E's, right? But Kassadin also has the ability to slow you. Beyond that, he's got a Q that can silence you, gets himself a magic shield. Granted, you don't do a lot of magic damage. All those things add up. And every time you cast an ability, you give Kassadin that big AoE slow. He's got the Rift Walk. He'll try to fight things. This is where things start heating up, at least in the mid lane.
Dragon is up. Boise State rotating down towards it. It has been warded out, though, so they'll have to clear that. As the yellow bumblebees also hanging around that bot side of the map. Does have a slight level advantage on Mortar. No longer matters for the smite numbers, but definitely that extra damage and extra ability point could be something Boise State has to keep an eye out for.
I like the shift here. In each of these players, there's a different mentality. You have a Tear the Goddess and a Ruby Crystal on this Kassadin playing ultimately for late game. We have Goblin cashing in with the immediate Serrated Dirk, Armor Pen making it true damage for zone as an armor, and the Executioner is calling. And then Echo has the Hextech Alternator and a Blasting Wand. He just wants all damage.
Oh, he's going to jump in onto Mortar. Mortar picks up the smite, but is immediately taken out. Bullet Time will trade out the Yone, and here comes Ascent onto Yellow Bumblebee, gets the first elimination. This Cry now does pick up one. Yellow Bumblebee looking to go over the wall. Rift Walk barely misses. Leona trying to kill the Ezreal. Has got to be careful, though. Here comes the Echo.
Leona has enough damage to do this as well, minus the fact that I think, yeah, that's
the healing is going to be the problem. And now it looks
like, me, bro.
Ooh, not able to suicide. Ezreal still picking up credit for the kill, so Boise State trades 3 for 2. Does pick up the Dragon, though, so I mean, pretty much worthwhile trade.
Interesting. We see the Zeal coming out from Yone, which means that they're not opting for like that early Immortal Shield bow to get them that ability to team fight well. He's looking to try and capitalize on maximum crit, which is an interesting choice. Something you can do if you're already ahead. Something that's not really wise to do if you're not, but a fantastic trade against Mortar. And will continue to force him. He will be fine, though. Jungle regen, as well as smiting any jungle camp, will put you back up to full here.
Another Cloud Dragon, first Dragon. This time, though, picked up by Boise State, which, again, a couple of big ultimates. Not really the casted so much, as Mortar now has to be careful. Here comes Cry now, looking for an opportunity to get in. Mortar waiting for the flag and drag, forced to use it. That should be a free Rift Herald picked up here by Texas, so they'll basically trade off objectives early on.
There is a Yuumi in the top lane, which means that Boise State's 2 members bot can maybe punish this Ezreal for being alone. Or they're going to send someone up through the river.
Ezreal's just going to run away.
Ezreal's just going to peace out.
He's like, nah, fam.
He's like, I'll go to where my Yuumi is, sure.
Ascent has just shut down everything this Yone wants to do.
Having the ability to put this Yuumi on this Yone, though, could be huge. I mean, it could be the tipping point. You go through the adaptive force, you get a huge boon of healing. It might be enough to put him in a place where he can fight against Ascent, but we'll have to see.
Great jump in here by Yellow Bumblebee, barely missing the stun. Alt is going to come out, misses as well. Great flash from Mortar. And this is what I wanted to see, though, from Texas. You've got to put your Yone ahead. He has to be able to pick up a kill. It's a decent bit of damage. Does go out to Elodad. He's going to re-engage with the hook shot. Rift Herald in that mid lane, trying to get those free plates handed over. Yuumi also going to pick it up. Hextech Ultimatum going to be able to. Showstopper does come out. Elodad's got to be careful. Great flash away.
Wow.
Barely picks it up thanks to the passive and Ignite. Wasn't even the flash, actually. It was the hook shot getting out of the way.
He had to flash the W damage there.
Doesn't have flash.
He just used it. Oh, you're right. Wow, it must have been hook shot.
Yeah,
what the heck?
It had to be. It looked like a flash the way it was played.
Yeah, it was actually so fast, I thought it was flash.
There's a great re-engage here by Elodad. Knowing this champion inside and out, you can see why I was banned in game 1. Punishing player number 6 the entire time. Great Hextech Ultimatum. Barely misses the kill.
That's what it was. Set tried to flash predict the hook shot. He missed his own W by flashing sideways.
Because it looked like a flash.
It was
yeah,
a
you're
flash.
right. It was not from Camille.
Set was the one that flashed that. So if Set had just stuck their ground, nice cataclysm.
Speaking of flashes, hey, you'll trade a cataclysm for a flash any day of the week.
100%. As a jungler, you're like, oh, worth.
Ooh, Goblin got to be careful.
Dang, that was closer than I thought. It was not really an outplay on the side of Elodad, but a misplay on the side of this player 6.
Elodad did have Ignite rolling, so it might have been at worst case a 1-for-1 trade.
You got to take in consideration Triumph still goes through.
That's true, Triumph, yeah.
Set's got extra regeneration when he's low. I don't think it would have killed him with the Ignite if he did not miss that W. But, I mean, if that's the case, right? If you're losing lane by inches, then that's still pretty good for you, especially considering your set. You're kind of this beefy bruiser versus the hyper carry that is Camille.
And he's really not even losing the lane. He's got that 20 CS lead, so the kill basically ties up the gold. Is crying out once again, going to jump onto Ascent. Alt is going to land this time right under the tower. Can't get out of range in time. Flash expelled. But Yone played with it for so long, finally picks up the kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Elodad's got help this time. Wait for player number 6. Does use the showstopper. Huge shield does come out this time, though. I think Elodad's going to be able to dodge it. Actually just kind of eats it to the face and uses the hook shot. Great job by Mortar there coming up huge. Get another kill as turret plating does fall.
It's also wise to give over the money to Camille as much as possible, because at a certain point you may have to consider putting Camille in a lane to be answered with by 1 or 2 members from the Longhorns. And as of right now, it does not look like Set's going to be the one to do so.
Dragon is up. Elodad does a great job sniping that last turret plate as the plating does expire. Ezreal did the same down in that bot lane. Does look like, I think, a 1 plate advantage for Texas overall.
Giving them still a tough time trying to catch up to the gold lead that is Boise State. We see kind of across the board some of these mythic items coming online. With the rocket belt coming through for Echo, can continue to increase his mobility.
Oh, Cataclysm comes out.
And the solar flare to boot. Gonna dive through. It's a 3-man ulti combo. But Yone gets punished for killing Ascent. And rightfully so. Now they're going to be able to push the mid lane. Top lane will be another exchange. Dodges away from the Haymaker. Going to continue to get those grass procs in addition to the Sheen. Never mind, it's a Divine Sunder. And it will completely tear asunder the life bar from player 6. In the bottom lane, there's going to be action as well, though.
Ascent's got to be careful. Looks like he's just going to try and farm. Knows that he is dead. One more Rift Rock. Not able to outplay that Echo and the mobility. But Boise State will trade that for first tower in the mid. Boise State picks up 2 kills across the board. Loses 1. Gets a tower, though. Overall builds the gold lead. But This Cassidy not having the easiest of times so far.
Ah, Cassidy, a champion that normally lacks crowd control until they build Everfrost.
Look at that gold lead for Goblin.
That's insane.
1,800. Here comes Dione.
From across the map, by the way. 200 years. Great champion. Now, it is interesting. I now understand their intention. They bought Zeal to get themselves the extra attack speed, giving them extra damage and cool down on their Q. Crit, of course, coming through and being doubled. But only stopping at the Zeal and then forcing yourself to purchase the Mythic is a great choice. So they are using what gold they have available wisely.
Yep. Does have that 600 gold lead over Cassidy in the mid. Overall, Boise State does have just short of 2K up in front. Looks like Ione should be able to pick up a tower here. Oh, gets picked out by the ult. Elo Dad had no idea that it was a 1-on-3, not a 1-on-1. Yone gets the tower, Yone gets the kill. And Texas with a great roam up from Yume and Echo. Catch that Camille off guard.
Yeah, that's another reason why Yumi's so strong is they make your one-person roam, two people roams. And as we had mentioned, any amount of crowd control that can be landed on a Boise State member, those final chapters will come through, lock you down. And as we clearly saw, despite Elo Dad being Camille with the adaptive shield, was able to be kind of destroyed there.
Unfortunately, as he used the hook shot in, he realized what he was playing into. It was a great job by Cry now, immediately ulting, knowing that the hook shot second was not going to be able to get him far enough away.
Right.
Right now, I think Boise State's just trying to get Ascent back into the game. Looking for a kill here onto player number 6. Mortar going to tower dive. Teleport is going to come out, though. Yone trying to get into the fight. Showstopper used there. Now Mortar's got to be careful. Of course, the flash over the wall. Oh, player number 6 still going to check this, though. I don't know if he expected his teammate to be there or not. Gets caught in the Cataclysm. They're trying to give Ascent this kill, but the shield from player number 6 is going to be too much. Finally picked up there. Now Teleport is going to come out.
TP.
Oh, Hextech ultimatum gets Cry now stuck on the wall. Double kill for Ascent. That is exactly what Boise State needed. They look for one and they pick up 2.
You know, as a jungler, that is such a great feeling. When you are able to pull off the lurk is what they call it. They never expect you to stay or repeat gank immediately. So, normally players would say, count our losses. I'm wasting time trying to gank this guy. With the fact that Mortar is able to stick it and stick around, they actually turn it into a +2 for them and get themselves a bottom tier 1.
And I think Texas also, I don't know, it feels like player number 6 thought Yone was coming with him. Hey, let's look for the 1v2. As you said, I don't think he predicted the lurk, but hey, let's roam up to this tri-bush, see if we can catch somebody. And then Yone goes in 1v2, gets caught on a teleport from Elo Dad.
Right. Very
interesting dynamic there. And again, player number 6 not having the best series. Struggled on the Gwen, now 0-4 on the set. 0 kill participation 20 minutes in as the Yellow Bumblebee thinks about the Rift Herald, but it realizes he just wants to back instead.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to where things are looking right now, it looks to be that Nashor's Tooth is going to be the next item purchased from Echo, which signals to me that the beacon for Yuumi is going to be this Echo player. Keep him alive, keep him auto-attacking, keep him with low cooldowns, and keep him hyper-mobile. Might be your only win con at this point. You can't invest in the set. We saw just what happened to him. He got kited to oblivion.
Yeah, and maybe you jump on Yone. Like maybe. You jump on, you try and get the Yone to ult, then jump back to the Echo. I mean, those are your two choices. It's the third dragon of the game. It's another Mountain Soul.
Ascent does have TP. Don't know if they have any good flank wards just yet. They're pushing into top right now. And this is the time when Texas needs to make a decision. They can't force to be inactive right here. They need to be proactive and force a decision to be made by Boise State. They need to force a reaction right now. They do lose a tower for their lack of ability and lack of action here. Finally sweeping Boise State off the dragon. They will start it up.
Ascent still holding on that teleport. There's not really a great ward. Player number 6.
Here comes the TP.
Just kind of building time. Crying now, looking to jump in. Mortar's not even close. Now he's going to go in. Light Pulse trying to land the stun. But you see the Cataclysm come out. There is a great Hextech ultimatum. Catches the backline of Texas. It's not over yet, though, as Yumi's going to pick up 1 and able to get out with the Ezreal. But Boise State goes 3 for 1, does lose the Dragon. Baron's going to spawn. I think they're running over to it.
Goblin cannot keep getting away with these ultimates. These bullet times are devastating for the life bar of the Longhorns. and also picked up the Eclipse. So even if you challenge an MF in that situation, that shield that she's able to get in the extra movement speed from the Swifties and the Yomus, you're not going to be able to lock down MF. He's running around waiting for the perfect time to launch those bullets, and he found it.
Boise State immediately roaming over to the Baron. Nos is going to check this, and the rest of his team has respawned. Boise State just waited too long. Teleport is going to be expended there by player number 6.
Do they just start it? They can't.
There's no way. They just wanted to reset, clear out some vision. So Boise State not able to capitalize on the Baron as much as they would have liked to.
Even so, just enacting and being around and threatening that objective, they bought themselves ATP from the Longhorns. It's kind of a worthy trade because they didn't lose anything in the process. So, granted, they would have assuredly liked to get the Baron. Getting a teleport for no risk is definitely worth it.
Scent has closed that gold gap in the mid. Now just a few minions behind. See there, Goblin nearing in on the first person at 10,000 gold, and it's not even close.
Not even remotely close. And you know, typically when we see this, and Misfortune does have, I wouldn't say a tougher time in the later stages of the game, because depending on your build, you can be a late game carry.
Yeah.
But Ezreal, once he gets those 4 items, 5 item power spikes, those Qs will do like half your health.
Boise State feels like they need to win early-ish.
Yeah, I'd say if they want to have an easy time, or at least an even time moving forward, they have about 10 minutes to end the game.
Yeah, because I mean, Ezreal, you mentioned Yone eventually is going to get that spike of all those items.
He's going to get 100% crit chance eventually, yeah. And then Echo will continue to get these Dark Harvest stacks even in losing fights, to a point that the moment that maybe Goblin does get picked off or Echo can get access to the backline, your ADC, your big carry, your big damage is bursted.
I would expect Goblin to pick up a Guardian Angel here soon, because as you mentioned, yeah, once Yellow Bumblebee.
He's going another Serpent's Fang, because they have shields.
They do have a lot of shields.
On all 4 members.
It's that 10-minute, about that 30, 32-minute window is what Boise State has got to be worried about. They do each have 3 turrets down. Everybody's got mostly tier 1s down.
And if the Dragons go not their way as well, that 32, 33-minute mark is also going to spell the spawn of Elder soon as well. So if they don't have control of the game then, and they have to leave Elder Dragon up to a coin flip, the amount of damage on this Texas roster is way, way high. It's almost too high.
Especially if you do get that Mountain Soul. That Texas is currently leading by 1 dragon. That shield's going to make it even harder to burn down guys like the Yone. As Yone's now going to jump onto Elo dash, just immediately dashes away, getting some chip damage.
This is the perfect Serpent's Fang opportunity. This is
the
the Serpent's
Stop
Fang
praising
angle
the Serpent's Fang into Mountain Soul. Please stop.
Yeah, it's definitely not worth it, but it sounds fun.
It sounds fun, but I don't think it would actually in reality be fun.
No, it won't. Not for anybody. Clearing out vision here. They don't want this to go, obviously, to Boise State, but I think that they have a pretty weak scattering of wards in this topside jungle. They don't really have a lot of deep vision. They don't have any TP flank wards. It's just a matter of barely extending beyond their reach into the river.
Just enough to see if somebody wants to attempt to steal.
Right, which
Baron.
is never going to be enough to stop Boise State from using literally the rest of the map.
Ooh, Yellow Bumblebee and player number 6, they're both looking for flanks onto this Kassadin. Only problem is, it's a Kassadin,
by the way.
He is just kiting them out.
They can play this so well.
Nos is rotating up as well. Let's say 4-on-1 here. Kassadin just gets the root with the Everfrost and just walks away.
He still has a Proto Belt.
They are still chasing them down, and Boise State is just immediately capitalized. Now they're able to pick one up. Boise State will get the tier 2 tower. Ascent did all he could, even burns out the exhaust. Does give that 650 gold shutdown over to Echo, which is not what you want.
They get tier 3 here for that? No.
No.
They're rotating over to the bottom lane. Here comes the ultimate combo. Ooh. And the dashes and dodging. The anime battle will be over, and the victor will be that of the Yone. Will be engaged upon. Not enough damage, and the Gore Drinker will not be there. Dash across the wall, and
no way.
He'll actually get himself to safety.
Absolutely crazy turn of events. Ascent can't quite complete the kite. Cry now looks like he is home free, but Boise State is in hot pursuit, and the movement speed from Goblin's passive might be enough. It looks like Yone will make it out, get healed up. Dragon is spawned, and Boise State is not in a position to challenge. They're going to even catch out Leona with the final chapter. And that will all but assuredly put Texas on Soul Point.
Soul Point. Mountain Soul. Serpent Fang. It is pretty dangerous when you cannot lock down a Yone in that situation. And truth be told, Elodad did dive under the tower, maybe with the intention of the rest of the Boise State squad to be there to back him up. But regardless, too early. Weren't able to get up that play, set up, and gets punished for it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think honestly, Elodad believed he could just 1v1 him under the turret.
That's also possible.
Unfortunately, Yone has so much disruption, so many knockups that's
and
just free turret damage.
He instantly rushed the... Oh, goodness. I'm going to embarrass myself. What is this bow now? Mortal Reminder? No.
I think it is.
It is Mortal Reminder.
Yeah.
Yes. Check one for Beartail. Now, he might have a better time going against his former lane opponent.
It's a ton of damage he's taking, though.
Both kind of not in a great healthy spot. TP's favoring neither, as they both have one. I think he's just trying to trade so he keeps eyes on set to maybe stop him from TPing, but that also prevents Boise State from getting a cheeky TP as well.
Both of them do have ways to stop the teleport.
Stopwatch going to be picked up here on Ascent, and we see a Bramble Vest now on Mortar as well, kind of disincentivizing themselves from being bursted. Anathema's chains, though, being built on this Leona means that whoever their target is, if they're able to stay in combat with them, will take increased CC. Here comes an engage in the top lane, but again, it's just going to be casted in. In the meantime, Goblin gets picked off by the Baron. So much damage. Here comes the engage. Lost chapters used for defense. No one's going to pull the trigger just yet. Wait till settles go through. But here comes the showstopper and the dive in the back line. But the Hextech ultimatum will keep them in place. And Boise State will bait, switch, and destroy this top laner player 6.
Hextech ultimatum was used, though. Goblin's got to be very careful.
Yeah, he's instantly poppable here from the rest of this lineup. And what do they gain from that, to be honest? They use a TP to defend the rest of the Boise State members that maybe have caught, but they don't have a better position now on any of these neutral objectives.
Boise State wants this Baron. The pings have gone out. Looks
Solar
like
Flare and Bullet Time are still available.
They maybe want to potentially bait
Cataclysm's
out
online too.
the side of Texas. They do have the Everfrost as well as the hook shot comes out. There's the Everfrost, not quite able to land. So no root will come through.
But they forced all members from the Longhorns away from this barren river. And despite maybe not getting the pick that they wanted, they now get the chance to start the Baron and force a reactive play from the Longhorns. This is the exact criticism that we called out on Texas as well. When they had complete agency over the Dragon Pit, Boise State immediately pulls the trigger on this Baron. It may result in a 50-50 though.
Set has respawned, is looking to get back into the fight. Great Zenith Blade stun gonna land onto Knox. He'll blink over the wall. Solar Flare not gonna be able to land. Ascent gets caught in a very poor position, but is able to get away. The Baron standoff, the Baron dance has begun. Boise State taking quite a lot of damage that Yumi sustained, also helping out the side of Texas. Every ult back online that was used in the previous fight as Jones comes off cooldown right now. Solar Flare, the only thing Boise State will not have access to as the fight breaks out.
2 flashes per team, and now they force Boise State away. They get the Hex or the River Scuttle and immediately turn to the Baron. Boise State, I don't think, has the awareness that this is happening.
They did ping it. I think Boise State is aware. Mortar's going to show up.
Is this another steal?
Throw the standard over the wall. Great stop on the DPS there by Texas. Cry now going to go over. Land a 2-man ult right onto Goblin. Dash back in. Baron picks up for Texas, but Boise State looks like they might want to continue the fight. Elodad's going to go in. Looking for a huge Hextech ultimatum right on top of Nas. He's going to go down. Yellow Bumblebee trying to roll away to safety. Player number 6 will get a back off, and Boise State will lose Baron and pick up 1 kill.
Yeah, not really the most worthy trade, but again, eliminating 1 Baron off the top of the list there is going to be a consolation prize in this situation.
Especially from the Ezreal. He can kind of split push with his mobility.
Well, what's interesting is we saw how desperate Boise State was to get in position for the Cataclysm to start the Hextech ultimatum. And
they're going to go in.
They're going to fight this. Another engage here on this top laner. Player 6 is not having much fun. He gets deleted from the game. Has some backup here. Echo looking for an opportunity to get to the back line. Another Baron removed, though, and forcibly so. That guy, I just popped.
Boise State going with this split
He
push
has
here.
stopwatch.
Yeah, he just died. That was like 66% of his health gone. Mortar just gonna.
Serpent's Fang busted.
Please
The
stop.
ultimate set counter. It is a good item against set.
Yeah, I know. But your love affair with Serpent's Fang has gone
It's
too
not
far.
my favorite item.
Oh, look at his set. He does pick up, I believe, that tier 2 top lane tower. Yes, he does, and is able to kite out Yone, who barely gets away. Boise State, you can see Mortar just running interference. Yellow Bumblebee potentially looking for a steal. I don't think Mortar knows he's
he
there.
might only come in to smite here.
Oh, he's going to go over the wall. Now he's got to get caught. He'll just teleport out. Almost picked up a kill onto that Leona. That is how much damage that Echo is doing with that Dark Harvest.
Yeah, and truthfully so, he doesn't even have a hyper damage build. He's got the Nashor's Tooth, which is only good for sustained fighting. He's got the Zonias, which has the ability to protect himself and be more survivable during the team fight. If instead he maybe went with like a Lich Bane into Rabadons, that Leona may have died there.
Minute left on the Baron. Texas really hasn't done anything with it. I think they've lost a tower and a dragon, so I don't know if it's been a gold positive for them.
It's a scary place now as well, because we noticed that some of these items that we talked about, these 4-5 item power spike, Ezreal cashing in on the Frozen Heart, meaning that might not be able to be easily bursted by most of the Boise State lineup. But in addition to that, Infinity Edge on Yone is a death warrant, and it's got an open space for any Boise members on there.
Well, the biggest problem for Boise State is, despite the struggles for player number 6, currently sitting at 0-7, all he has to do is land one good showstopper.
Yeah.
And set is completely going to get full value. So Boise State has got to be very careful. He does take a lot of damage as Baron looks to fall off here in the next 10 seconds. Ooh, he's going to check right into Leona. Boise State, I think, realizing it's set, though. Probably not worth committing your resources for a cannon minion.
Yumi's build is also interesting. Having... Oh, wait, we're going to find another fight. Going to engage on the Alona. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how tanky she is. She'll engage. So here is a showstopper, pulling everyone out of the bullet time. And as we mentioned, on the back side of things, instantly deleted will be Goblin. The rest of the Boise State members are looking for an angle, but they keep dodging in and waiting into the welcoming clutches of Texas as they get deleted left and right. One member remaining for Boise State squad. And after getting picked, Boise State turns on the heat. But unfortunately for them, Texas was ready for the fire.
Yeah, it was a great job by Crying Out, immediately ulting on top of Goblin. That's exactly what we talked about. He does not have a lot of escapability. Canceling that bullet time that looked like it was going to do huge damage. And I don't know if Texas has the time to end, but they're going to do significant damage to this Boise State base. At least pick up this mid inhibitor turret, and most likely the mid inhibitor as well.
Mordor cannot die here. If he does, I think the game's for sure over. Does have 2 members alive.
Leona will
Buying crucial seconds. They're trying to end the game.
Goblin's back in the fight. Does not have the bullet time, though. Has got to be careful. Player number 6 taking a ton of damage, but does it matter? The set just a meat shield there. They'll lose one Nexus tower.
Ascent looking for maybe a TP angle, and there it is. Right through the rest of the mid lane. Boise State just needs to carefully follow suit, and they'll get the pincher right here.
Here comes Ascent. He's going to get that root right onto player number 6, now trying to kite it out. I don't think the rest of Boise State's members are going to be able to get there in time.
The poke from Ezreal.
Oh, he's going to go in!
He's going in! He's crazy! He's got the Zonia's pop! Here comes the bow time as well. Cataclysm will follow, but no kill is going across just yet. A trade 1-for-1 so far, and Camille will be here. Set will go for the backline, but will get himself into his own demise as Goblin will pop off with a double kill. Boise State, the patience is rewarded.
Boise State going to have to go up against these super minions. Most likely going to try and get that top inhibitor. I don't think they have enough power to end it. As Hex Flash over the wall. Yellow Bumblebee's going to jump right on top of Elo Dad, able to dodge out of the way. Gets a nice shield. That top tower is still gone. They're hunting for a kill onto the Echo. That would be huge here as Goblin takes a ton of tower damage.
He does heal pretty well, but they need to focus his objectives because the timer's ticking. Yone is going to be up soon.
They need that mid inhibitor, it feels like, though. They do get the top one. Mid lane will still be pushing in Texas's favor, and Boise State is pretty much one lost team fight away from losing this game and going to a game 3.
Ultimately, the same could be said for Texas, though. One lost team fight either way will determine the course of this game. And we see, even with that play, so much objectives were taken out that Set's actually able to get a huge item. The Sterix Gauge, in addition to their natural shielding and Gore Drinker, means that maybe if they engage as they have been so far, if they get picked, they won't be immediately dropped.
But say it with me, Baratel. Serpent
Serpent
Fang
Fang!
counters all of that.
No, well, kind of.
I'm more concerned about Cry now and this Guardian Angel. As Boise State's going to jump onto him, do a little bit of damage, but he is able to jump back to safety.
They're going to engage again.
Mortar's going to jump the Cataclysm right onto player number 6. Bull Time is going to come out from a safe location this time. Ton of damage comes out. Ascent is the first one to fall. And now Boise State is caught in the wrap. Yone gets a double knockup, a double kill. And we're going to game three. Texas with a fantastic composition. They waited long enough. We mentioned the 10-minute mark. It's been about 13 minutes since we said it. Texas, for the first time all game, gets the gold lead, gets the kill lead. And as they do that, they take down the Boise State Nexus.
I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure Texas started winning the timer we gave them at 33 minutes.
Hey, that power spike we talked about. Well, if you want to score pro advice at esportstower.com, if you're a high school student looking to improve your gameplay, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure, you'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. It is a ton of fun. Go check them out at esportstower.com. And what a turnaround there for Texas. Felt like Boise State was in total control again. Some of the issues that Boise State had in the game 1 also kind of plagued them in game 2 as well, getting a little bit too aggressive. We will talk about that on the other side of the break. It's game 3 coming up after this. Who comes out on top, Texas or Boise State? Find out after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. UAL game number 1 for Boise State, taking on a very strong Texas roster that just sent us to a game 3 on the back of some spectacular Yone play by Cry Now. Fish and Baratel here calling all of the action. Some of the Boise State players up on the stage getting ready to go here for game 3, Baratel. And you and I were talking about it a lot in the break, and I think that's the question on everyone's mind is what does Boise State do with the Yone? Does it get banned out? We assume that as the losers, Boise State will pick that blue side and potentially force a Lee Sin ban out from Texas. So, I mean, between those two, the Yone and the Lee Sin, do you expect either one to be banned in Phase 1?
I think Lee Sin may need to be taken away on the side of the Longhorns just because of how much agency Mordred had. But I don't think that Yone is going to be banned out. It was just a matter of Boise State allowing the time for that champion to scale. The whole "we scale" meme became true for the Longhorns.
Yeah.
If they just ended up winning and doing things more proactively to win faster, Yone wouldn't have been a factor there.
Take a look at our rules here for tonight. Best of 3, Game 3 right around the corner. 5v5, Summoner's Rift, all pretty standard. No Vex available this week. Potentially we'll see if she's up next week, but it might be a couple weeks before we see her on the Rift for either team. Boise State started the game on blue side. Texas picked it up in Game 2, and as you see there, loser chooses side. I think we both fully expect Boise State to pick up that blue side. Force the agency of getting that first pick in the draft. Most likely would be that Lee Sin, or it will be banned away by Texas. And so far we've seen from Texas 3 bans. We know Rumble's sticking. If you're going to ban the Lee Sin, do you let the Bard or the Kindred through?
I mean, yeah, and that's good because Boise State is forcing that to happen, which is in favor for them.
Here we go. We're going to kick this off. Boise State on the blue side. Same thing we expect. The Zed, and I predict a Rumble will be right around the corner. Boise State probably going to do Xin Zhao as well, but potentially holding off because that is something Mortar can also play in their champion pool. Nope, there it is. There's the Xin Zhao. Here's the question. Do we get a Lee Sin? Do we get a Bard? There's the Kindred. That tells me I bet you this is a third ban Lee Sin. 100%. I think it's no.
You think they go double jungle ban on the side of Longhorn? What they haven't done yet?
I think they want to force Mortar back onto that Jarvan.
I think this is respectable to ban the Echo. Again.
Oh yeah, great ban.
So able to dart in and out of a team fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Respect ban coming out for Goblin. Here comes the Lee Sin first pick though.
I mean, you would expect Boise State.
Do they know that he plays Ashe?
Yeah,
like,
I was going to say, you just second pick Ashe. For Boise State.
You can last pick Ashe.
I think you want to leave up your counter picks. That's the only reason you wouldn't last pick the Ashe.
Yeah.
Probably go. Maybe pick up the Bard as well. There's that Graves that Boise State had banned away, so both teams will get their junglers out early.
Yeah, and I think they might just match picks in terms of lanes for the rest of this draft.
Yeah,
we'll
I
have to
expect
see.
This will probably be the ADC from Texas here. We've seen this, or maybe the support. They've second pick support a lot. There's the Senna.
Okay, so that's a flex.
They have, in the past in UAL, last week played a Feast Senna with a Karthus AD carry.
Yep.
Could be something you want to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, it could be completely no farm Senna. And that does prove to be quite the thorn in the side for an Ashe lane because she not only steals your movement speed, but she has the ability to root you down, and whatever she's paired with is going to be a lot of damage. Sivir. Okay.
Get that spell shield baked in.
Yeah,
stop that route.
Interesting question as to whether or not we'll see maybe the more popularized recently lethality Q spam build or just a traditional ADC Sivir build.
You get that set probably in the top lane just because he has been such a strong champion for both Elo Dad and player number 6.
Yep, we've seen both these sets say, doesn't matter what you pick, doesn't matter what happens in the lane, I will influence the game regardless.
All you have to do is use a showstopper onto somebody, especially if it's a high-proud target.
Coming from the perspective of my personal physique, the last, 6 male champions have all had 6-packs. Riot, where's the representation? Where's the fat guys?
Well, speaking of representation, how about a Heimerdinger?
Heimerdinger coming out. That's going to be Heimer center bottom.
100%. That is the actually second most played character for the Texas support, is that Heimerdinger. Corky once again respect banned away.
Tom Kent.
Yeah, I don't know bench the Kench.
Yeah, leave the frog alone. Don't unclog the frog.
There's that Yone ban, actually. You were not a fan.
Interesting.
Boise State will phase 2 ban it. I mean, really not a whole lot on the table at this point. You maybe bait him back onto the action.
That could be huge. Orianna coming out here. I mean, that's a great call, right? It gives so much agency to putting Lee Sin in a hypermobile state, both with the W and then making sure that anything that he gets attached to through his own picks becomes more devastating with Command Shockwave. Set in combination with Orianna is also very strong for those reasons. The LeBlanc ban will be taken away from the Longhorn. Now, this means that this is going to be a spicy matchup that we have yet to see mid. I wonder if we see any Azir. Because Azir can scoop up an enemy team if Longhorns want to draft this. They can scoop up a team and force them to fight within the turrets of Heimerdinger. Ornn, going to be also a fantastic team fighter drafted in the top lane. One of those other, doesn't matter what you do to me in the top lane, I will still be Ornn.
Yeah, top lane is effectively dead at this point. There will not be action up there. They will just, you know, beat each other with
can
wet
still be
noodles.
up there. He's still available to be picked.
I think it is set top lane.
Action. The champion can roam up there.
There's the Rakan.
That's interesting because the Bard's open.
I guess they not quite sure. I mean, what Texas saw from Light Pulse to want to maybe ban that Bard away.
Right. This is not Fasting Senna with Karthus support. This is most likely Fasting Senna with Heimer support.
Who knows? Maybe you can put Heimerdinger in the mid.
Good.
Put
Rise. A champion that we've seen sometimes come out from.
It's around Worlds time, right? So Rise has got to be busted.
It's just
a fact of life.
Worlds patch Rise buff.
How many years in a row now running? Like 8?
He needs so much help, and they don't know what to do with him.
They buff him for Worlds, and then
we want a glass cannon, machine gun mage that does 1 billion damage, but also that's not fun for everyone because he's got targeted abilities.
See what the final pick here is for Texas. We expect it to be in the mid.
Expect this to be a mid laner here.
But again, could be a Karthus and kind of flex. So Rengar.
You know what?
All right, and we're not hearing any pro drafts chirping from production. So
I wonder.
Do you put Rengar Senna bot lane and just put Heimer in the mid?
No.
What are you wondering then?
Maybe it's Rengar top. Like
Ornn
Senna bottom. I'm confused. The Rengar really threw me.
Yeah, the Rengar was a twist.
There's no inherent synergies that I'm thinking
No, it's not
about.
like Rengar, Ivern. As we see there is the Boise State lineup on your screen. 3 new players from last semester: Elo, Dad, Mortar, Ascent, Goblin, and Light Pulse. Started off with a win. Took a loss in Game 2, now trying to finish this series off in Game 3. Today's lineups are brought to you by Count. Count Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention. Account protection enables a personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Yeah, that Rengar is just... I honestly have no idea. I feel like it's probably Rengar Senna bot lane.
Maybe.
But that just opens it up to be so harassed by Boise State with that Rakan. Continuously just getting knockups and taunts.
That's the thing, though, right? I'm literally scratching my head. I think that if the Senna Rengar lane is played perfectly, then of course it'll go their way. But that's tough because, you know, Rakan can dash and kind of bait out the Rengar into a disadvantageous position. Sivir does a fantastic amount of damage and is pretty safe, both with Rakan being there and that spell shield. It could still be Senna Heimerdinger bottom.
Put Ornn in the mid, maybe.
I think it's just Ornn top and then Graves jungle, and you just have like Roam Rengar mid.
So you can't. Rengar in the mid is just wasting everything that makes Rengar a good laner.
You just roam, like you play him like Akshan. You say, "Oh, okay, I'll just farm and then leave the lane." 6.
But like
that does. I mean, it's just so hard. Maybe it's not a pro draft bug because we haven't heard anything.
You know, we
yet.
haven't been told like, oh, that's actually Gwen, or oh, that's actually you know.
I mean, it gives most viability to having this Rengar be top lane. Rengar top.
Ornn bot lane, but I mean, if you Rengar to me is the one that makes the most sense if you're going to play Feast. If you're going to play, Feast Senna.
What if you're not? What if it's just standard support Ornn?
They threw it down. Yeah, honestly, I've never been more.
It's a great flex if it works.
Well, but the problem is like they didn't pick Ornn and then pull out a counter pick. You picked Ornn after set was chosen.
Right.
Usually, if you're going to get crazy like this, it's because you're trying to, like we saw with the Echo.
I've never seen the Rengar set matchup top lane. It could be a counter pick. I doubt it.
But we picked Set before they picked Ornn. I mean, if you're looking for something cheesy, you do what they do first game. You pick Echo. You make it think it's jungle. You make it think it's jungle. Then you swap it to mid.
They
the very
just
last
want
pick.
us to look like fools on the desk.
Yeah. So I could not be.
Which it's working because I feel like quite the fool.
I mean, it's not only is it Game 3. I could not be more excited to hop into this just to see exactly where this comp for Texas is going.
Now there is a build out there for Rengar, something of historic value. It's the AP Rengar Police.
There's no way
You
in
go
game
you
3
W max.
you pull out AP Rengar.
You go AP Rengar. You can get Night Harvester. You can get Rocket Belt. Whatever you need to get in, get out, and you just spam double W. You can't die because you can't be CC'd. You fully heal, and it does so much damage. It's not going to happen, but it could.
I don't think it's going to happen,
No,
honestly.
it's not.
I'm leaning towards the center Rengar if you want to really play.
I'm just so surprised it's not like, I don't know,
Like
any champion that has synergy with Rengar.
But then again, I mean, the Heimerdinger is the wild card because that's what the support for Texas has played. I mean, I think it's like 70 games on Heimerdinger this season, second most overall. I mean, that slots in perfectly, but then it's like you're rotating the Ornn to the mid lane and you're putting Rengar up top. But, I mean, player number 6 has not had a great series. To put them on a hyper carry like Rengar is definitely questionable. And on the same token, neither has Ascent. Ascent has kind of been locked down for the most part, so why are you trying to counter them with an Ornn and shut down this Ryze from popping off? So
it's interesting. You know, to be fair, Ryze does have some pretty good matchups against Melee. So putting any Melee champion mid could be, you know, detrimental to their success.
But it's Ornn,
Except it's Ornn.
Yeah.
And truth be told, we've seen in other regions, historically, again, weird references pulled out of the hat. We've seen Ornn mids because of the fact that they have so much damage with Brittle.
Yeah.
They have teamfight agency up the wazoo. And mid lane is typically a role that gets really ahead in level. So you can start handing out those masterwork items pretty early. So it's possible that it's Ornn mid. This pick, their draft has completely thrown everything for a loop. Watch it be like Graves top and
there's no way.
Heimerdinger mid.
There was that Graves mid meta for a while. It did kind of get nerfed, though, pretty heavily, so I would not expect the Longhorns split out. But that's something that, you know, maybe we haven't been considering is maybe they're going to do a callback to that Graves mid and they're going to put that Rengar in the jungle. That would, I guess, make the most thematical sense here. But that Graves mid was nerfed really heavily into the ground. We have not seen it since that patch. So, but I mean, yeah, that is a very interesting one. Again, I mean, this kind of feels like, though, for Boise State, they feel like a lot like what Texas had last game, which was just they're going to all in and they're going to probably do a lot of damage. I don't expect Mortar to build very tanky on that Lee Sin. You don't maybe expect Elo Dad to build very tanky on that set. And for Texas, I mean, you have the Ornn, you have the maybe support Heimerdinger, potentially the Rengar. I mean, there's a lot of potential for just you get engaged on and you're just going to go pop.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many ways to engage from long range as well. Call the Forge God. Rengar can go through with the Brush Stalker there and get the ultimate from any direction. A lot of these big question marks force Boise State to react with minimal information, which is not something that they typically like to do. You know, even then, the Senna ultimate comes through with the full global range, and Heimerdinger can optimize themselves to be more of an instigator than a damage source by ultimating the E for the triple bounce grenades as well. So a lot of opportunity for some crazy shenanigans to happen, but we really won't know until we get into the game because this whole draft is wonky.
This whole draft is just floating around the fact that this Rengar is legit, which we're led to believe it is.
It's a real Rengar.
You know, where it goes, because that will tell us the whole. Once we figure out where it's going, we can paint a better picture. As it is Boise State and Texas. This should mean we're ready to go. It's game number 3, UAL. Game number 1 for Boise State on the season. The League of Legends team with 3 new faces pick up the win. Blue side's been the lucky side so far tonight, and they're on it. Hometown Blue. JK, I got baited. I thought
you
we were
baited us, production.
Thought we were matchup graphicing right into the game.
Woo, close.
We're really excited for that
really,
Rengar. That's the problem.
It's really interesting to see how these puzzles fit. Because it's truthfully like a traditional comp versus the Longhorn comp. I'll just call it the Longhorn comp because I don't know what it is.
And again, once we get into games, I think this is now our cue to go.
Let's go.
Boise State, Texas. It is the jump mid Graves.
It's the mid Graves. Okay.
That makes the most sense.
That makes ideally the most sense.
We haven't seen it in a long, long time, but it makes the most sense, and it looks like Texas wants to start out Swiss and American on top, and by that I mean full cheese. 5-man in the bot lane. They're going to get spotted out by a ward, and so much for that. Oh!
Rengar.
Whoa, Rengar and his design. Nice
Rengar's
triple jump.
Design.
200 years.
This is also like what some Rengar mains would call post-buff Rengar. Other Rengar mains would call as post-nerf Rengar, in which he requires 1 less ferocity to get himself going. And then that also means that when he jumps out of a bush, Rengar's initial jump does not give him that first ferocity. So it's a trade-off. It's really, really powerful for skilled Rengar players. It's less forgiving for new and unskilled Rengar players.
I would assume what we've seen from Yellow Bumblebee, he'll fall into the first category.
Yeah, and truth be told, there's a lot of other quality of life changes. The W receives some changes. The E can be cast with no animation mid-jump. The Q's been the same. So, again, if this Rengar knows what they're doing, this is going to be a pretty dangerous force to be reckoned with. I don't know how Rise versus Graves works, though.
The mid-Graves post-nerf is definitely something that I was not expecting to see.
He's even opted to go for fleet footwork. It's a complete, like, I just want to survive this laning phase against you.
I just want to get really fed and do what great Jungle Graves does, which is just farm incredibly fast and then do too much damage.
The problem with Graves versus Rise is all of Graves' stuff is within Rise's range. And Rise has two completely maxable abilities, the W and the E, that will punish this Graves severely. He doesn't even have to land the Q to get the damage down.
Does look like it is going to be...
It's Feast?
Feast Senna, though.
Yeah.
Does have the support item for Nath, so looking to pick up all of those souls. Do a ton of trades with Goblin and Light Pulse there.
It typically means that there's no way for Boise State to get in on these two.
No, you're basically just trying to farm while letting Senna auto-attack you the least amount of times.
I think you, depending on the Sivir build, if you end up going tier, you just kind of wait till tier's purchasable, both base on an item, and then Rakan gets a boots, and then he roams to a different lane. Because there's no agency for him to make a play anywhere else.
Yeah,
or in that lane specifically. He has to go anywhere else.
And Sivir has enough, utility with the spell
great
shield.
Wave clear, can be safe under tower.
Exactly. As we do see, and Knockup just barely misses there onto Nos, though.
Oh,
Dash back, double root. Not quite what you were looking for there.
And this is exactly why they will have a hard time engaging on these two. And heal and teleport as well being the two choices for summoners opt on the other side of the flash for this bottom lane from the Longhorns, meaning that a lot of the plays that maybe Boise State was counting on being successful with will be answered not with 2 TPs, but 3 separate ones.
Yeah, I do like the 3 teleport strat here from Texas, especially let's see what Loopster can do on that Heimerdinger. That'll have a little bit more gold than your standard support. Picking up all of the CS, doing a good job of it so far. This looks like we might have a mid gank coming out here. Rakan is roaming right into where Rengar is about to be. Scary spot for Light Pulse. Unfortunately, the wave shoving against Rise means no gank's going to come out. Now, Rakan is going to get caught down here. Forced to dash over the wall. Meanwhile, Mordor hanging out here top lane, but it is against an Ornn.
Go for the dash.
Here comes the jump in. Q just barely going to miss. Nice dash away by that Ornn.
Player 6 normally would trade aggressively there. We've seen him do it 2 times, both with the Flame Breath into the dash for extra brittle damage. And I think Boise State was waiting for that to happen. But at the same time, as a jungler, you always have that internal clock saying, hey, there's camps to go get money from. Go get the money, though. Money, go get it. Leave the lane, stop ganking.
And especially with seeing Rengar, not really get a gank off, but kind of have someone walk into them. It does help out a little bit as a knockup is going to land onto Nos. Force a flash away. Ignite will be used. I don't think it's going to be enough damage.
It won't.
Boise State will get a back out there from that Senna. Put Loopster in a very tough spot. Mordor is also roaming down. Could be an easy pickup here.
Wards away. Does get some extra buffs while being near turrets. Can put the turrets to block some of the Lee Sins engage. So a kind of thwarted attempt at ganking there. But they do force away Senna, and that does slow slightly the soul progression for that champion, meaning that they don't get all the free stats so immediately. Unfortunately for this, Heimerdinger can easily 1v2 this if played correctly.
Mortar's still there. Loopster running out of mana. Senna just now getting to the turret. Knockup just barely going to miss. Loopster kiting back, trying to buy time for Senna to show up. Teleport is going to be used by Ornn. Boise State's got to be careful. They're going to be answering with a teleport of their own. Here comes Ascent. Another teleport will be used. It's a party in the bot lane. And Boise State will just simply back away. And that means in the end, Elo Dad gets a ton of free farm on that set.
Yeah, a ton of free farm. They did force Rise to TP. He's not going to be in a position where he needs a farm. He just needs to land abilities. But here comes another engage.
Here comes Yellow Bumblebee.
Gets
the dash,
here
double one onto Ascent.
There's another bush there. He's got the root. Does not follow suit, though. No one else is there. The collateral damage will come out from the mid lane Graves. They're going to go for the dive here, and they have no way to defend it. No TPs yet. They're going to let Elo Dad up there in the top lane, the farm. But now they're getting farmed under this bottom lane.
It's a double kill there. Unfortunately, I think Mortar peeled out a bit too soon, but I don't know what you could have done against that 4-man tower dive of Texas.
Yeah, not much. I mean, without having kick, without having any of the quickness, the Sivir ult on the hunt, and none of those abilities were available. Collateral damage, I think, hit 2, and Rengar doesn't need much to give himself a huge boon of damage.
It's a great play, and you mentioned the triple teleport. I mean, of course, Loopster did not use his. He was already down there. He just teleport back after getting a kill and an assist, but that sets up a huge disadvantage for Boise State, and Elo Dad, I think, had already used that teleport either to get back to lane or has used it since. And so now Mortar caught on the wrong side, forced to flash away. Unfortunately, Rakan has gone in. Loopster barely flashes out of range, but it's not enough to stay alive. Boise State will trade 1 for 1. Here comes Ascent, though. Gets a nice route onto the Rengar. Yellow Bubblebee trying to run away. Gets a little bit of a heal. Shut down over to Ascent. Now trying to pick up Nos. Boise State has turned this one around. There's the knockup, and it's another kill for Ascent, and Boise State just like that picks up 3 after the Dragon.
It's so interesting because it may not seem like that was a complete, like, mind play, but to be fair, Mortar going over the wall and waiting so long to flash kept all of the Longhorns in position for the rest of Boise State to collapse.
Yep.
And if that didn't happen, if that time wasn't bought by Mortar there, then the collapse wouldn't happen and Rise wouldn't have cashed in on those 2 kills. They would have easily retreated to blue buff.
Minion wave pushing onto Elo Dan. Should be able to take care of all of it. All the Forge God is going to be using. Knight will come out from the spell book, and Elo Dad's just going to get taken out. Tried to use the showstopper to avoid the damage, but I don't think he did.
He ulted, but unfortunately, when you do your Forge Breath on Ornn, you are not CCable. So that's the interaction there. He slammed himself in the wall, ended the animation early because he didn't carry anyone with him, and the Ignite and the rest of the damage with that Bird of Hawk will take him down.
Great job by player number 6, especially after last game. Mortar now coming in, does land the Q, gonna take it, kicks the Graves right back into his set. Collateral damage comes out, and Boise State just doesn't have enough burst from the Rise yet.
No.
They end up baiting Mortar into his own death.
It was a pretty forced play. Normally the Insect would go into someone who has a lot of damage. Unfortunately, for that matchup specifically, Quick Draw, the Graves' ability to do the dash gives him armor, which means that Lee Sin's burst potential is drastically reduced.
Uh-oh. Ult is going to be used.
Rengar. Oh my goodness.
Night.
And this Rengar proving huge dividends for this draft here. He's absolutely popping off right now.
The slightly off meta comp from Texas has them with an early 3K lead. That Rengar 4-1-1, looking for more. Level 7, Goblin's level 5. You better stay away from that kitty cat.
Yeah, and this Heimerdinger is also, I believe, like 30 CS up over Goblin as well.
Plus, I mean, 4 plates have been taken out in that bot lane, looking to get the 5th. We're not even 10 minutes into the game, and the bot turret is almost destroyed in its entirety.
I will say, no, I can't say that. That's too much. I think that Graves, depending on build, can fall off into like the very, 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 very late game. And Rengar to some extent as well. Once you're able to group up as 5 and fight over objectives, Rengar has less effectiveness. But Boise State needs to be able to buy the time to get there. They need to be able to buy the time for Sivir to get some items, for Rakan to maybe look for a great engage with the quickness, and they need time for Rise to scale.
There's only one problem. It's a nice ult, lands a stun onto Goblin. Knock up, not going to be able to land it. Senna ult gets Goblin incredibly low, forced to flash away, but Nas picks up the kill anyway. And your plan is great. There's only one downside, Bertel. Senna is an infinite scaling champion.
She is infinitely scaling. That is correct.
Going in again.
And Lee Sin does fall off incredibly hard.
So yeah, while the Graves potentially could fall off, while the Rengar does struggle in team fights, Nas is just going to get only stronger and stronger. I would assume the stacks are already at a very healthy amount.
And I see so many situations so far in this game alone where the Bard would have been, I think, a better draft. In that situation specifically, going for the double Q, getting them stunned, prevents that flash auto from coming through. He's an engage, Call the Forge God coming through as well.
3 men
nice
are coming
flash
up.
As well. But the rest of the squad is here. The Longhorns do not know The Mortar's here. They might probably be able to burst this Ornn. They go for the showstopper. He ends up on the other side of everything, but it does not matter. Boise State collapsing on this top lane. They're going to pick up maybe another one, but the flash away will be huge. And Yellow Bumblebee will be in the bush, and he'll be jumping, prancing, and leaping to a huge lead. Diving under tower?
Ooh, risky spot for Nos, but able to run away.
No punish.
Heimerdinger's just going to be able to pick up this mid for free as well. And Texas has come out on fire in game 3. Light Pulse has to be careful, does land the charm with the ult, trying to 1v1 this Rengar, not quite able to. The set does get the trade and actually ends up dying, so a nice shutdown does go over to the recon for Boise State. Ascent trying to be careful. Here comes the teleport coming out from Set. See if they can punish that. Graves gets that bonus movement speed, but he's just going to sit on that blast cone and end up dashing over the wall anyway.
Yeah, I mean, great turnaround for Boise State. If they don't get those kills, things look, of course, a lot more dire. And you know, for the first time, they are the ones drastically behind in terms of the gold lead. Over 5,000 going over to the Longhorns currently. Looks like Mortar's trying to get an Ocean Drake, which will help with some of this sustained damage.
Maybe.
Fortunately, will be found out.
Does have the smite. Senna is rotating down, though.
Maybe kick Ornn out to get this safely. Knocked up with the ram charge. There'll be a Heimerdinger waiting on the other side.
Nice flash.
Flash into it. Needs to W himself to safeguard. He does do so. Here comes the rockets. Here comes the Q. Resonating strike with the Sonic kick. Almost takes him out, but he's just that little bit behind and cannot take out the Heimerdinger. Here comes an engage. They're not done yet. Longhorn looking for more. Find an access point to the tower, but don't commit to it. Boise State gets the dragon and barely gets away with their lives.
Great job by Mortar trying to keep his team in the game. Look at the damage that Nos is doing already, though.
Support champion, by the way.
2, 2, and 5. Ripped Herald kind of just gets summoned in the jungle. The duration had expired. Tons of damage does go out on the Cry now, but now there's nothing left for Elodad. He is out of cooldowns. Waiting for them to come back online. Should be able to get to safety. Might get a charge from Shelly here to get that plate and a tower before the turret plates do fall. He's looking for
Shelly, run. Your Nikes on.
Here comes Mortar for the assist. You just barely misses. Elodad taking a ton of damage. Collateral damage to the face. They do at least get the tower. But I don't think that's a trade you want to make. Teleport is going to come out in the mid here from that Heimerdinger and immediately scare off Boise State, who's looking to punish that setup.
And we see here, it looks like Boise State's going for that kind of full 5v5 play, right? They rush the Everfrost. They don't have the Mythic there on Sivern.
Oh my goodness.
Great googly mooglies. That's just
it's a
deletion station.
And call the foot. Let's just triple alt Elise in up top. Ascent now winds up there, looking to do some extra damage.
Tower will get him in position. A lot of damage being traded, and he is doing a lot.
Tower helps out a bit
He's not doing enough just yet, and we even see the Zonias being rushed here on Rakan to further instigate their engage. Because ultimately, it's, you know, it's Lee Sin either goes for an insect with flash Q kick, Sivir goes for on the hunt. That's a soft engage. Rise might be able to get a Realm Warp there, but other than that, there's no clear engage for Boise State. And here comes the Rengar ult. He's on the hunt, moving for opportunities to get more kills under his belt. The Bone Tooth Necklace is full of the teeth of his victims, and it will be 2 members from Boise State falling. At the same time, Ornn will be traded out.
I think you take those 100% of the time. Mortar's going to face check Loopsers. Does barely end up surviving, but here comes Rengar. He smells blood, but Boise State will just simply walk away. Nearly a 7K gold lead for Texas, 15 minutes into the game. 8-2-3 on the Rengar, 4-0-5 on the mid-Graves. The two champions we had the most questions about, and so far, they have been played spectacularly.
Yeah, they're doing phenomenally well with this interesting comp, and it goes to show that they needed to pull something out a little bit less orthodox to take on Boise State. Nice fight here in the bottom lane. Showstopper will get them slowed for 90%, but there's no one there, and he will just crit Set to oblivion here. Only the plated steel caps to keep himself alive, but not for long.
The only problem here for Boise State is, I mean, there's a lot of problems, but the biggest one here is we've seen throughout the series.
That guy, the cat guy. That guy's a huge problem.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing we've seen throughout this series is that Boise State wants to be aggressive. They want to force kills. They want to take fights. It's how they almost lost game 1. You can't take fights when you're down 17-7, though. Yellow Bumblebee going to get caught under the turret. Nope, Turret Aggro ends up flipping over.
Unfortunately,
Light Pulse there through the time. Mortar now trying to dual Graves. He is 3 levels down. Turret barely forces out a 1-for-1 trade, but every tier 2 except top lane under siege for Boise State right now as Light Pulse forced away. Here is the ult from Rengar, and it is a dead Rakan right now.
Goodbye.
I don't think Dunking's
as you mentioned, they're forcing these fights that
they can't win.
They don't have the money to do so. They don't have the funds to do so. It's tough because as Lee Sin, you're supposed to be the one ahead, but at this point, you just have to recognize that Rengar's the bigger jungler in this situation, and maybe going for those plays with some backup against this Graves could be the opportunity, but he's also a pretty big member of the Longhorn team. Despite maybe recent nerfs, he was able to get some gold outside of the lane, and he's not able to be 1v1, which is exactly what you want as a Graves.
He's able to split push a decent bit there. Now Boise State down 3 turrets to 1. Dragons spawning soon, but I really don't think there's anything Boise State can do about what would be our 3rd Mountain Soul of the evening.
How interesting.
RNG is a cruel mistress sometimes.
It's definitely one of the least fun dragons, in my opinion. Or drakes, sorry. Going through, Sweeper will find the member, but not the one you wanted to find. Nice dash across, but here comes another stealth Rengar. No need for the ultimate. He'll continue to push through. Gonna find himself queued and marked up. Here comes the Call of Forge God. Knock up some all members from the Boise State squad. Rengar not looking to find an angle in just yet. Showstopper will be there. There goes the Haymaker as well. The pull will continue to be huge, but Boise State barely holding on to these health bars and barely able to stop the advancement of the Longhorns. Longhorns really wanted to be on the aggressive front, but Boise State retreats barely with their lives.
That Rengar is so scary. There's not a single person on Boise State's team who can battle that Rengar. And he's looking for blood here. Going to jump right onto Elo Dad, as tanky as that set is. We watch a set die 1v1 under the tower. See that Heimerdinger Showstopper going to be used, but it's not going to matter. Elo Dad just goes down. Mid turret has been destroyed. Mountain Dragon is up. Light Pulse going to get stuck. Able to dash over the wall. Senna does get landed on a Q. Nice flash away. So there's no ult from that Lee Sin for bonus damage. And here comes Heimerdinger on the backside. Double knockup does land for Ornn. Turret's going to get placed. Graves is there as well. There's really not a whole lot Goblin or anybody else can do. Not even the turret can save them. Light Pulse forced to ult to safety. Mortar goes pop. And can Rakan stay alive? The simple answer is N-O.
This is just looking just devastating for Boise State. They're not able to stay alive under their tier 2 tower, and you know it's this huge gold lead. It's a mountain that needs to be climbed, and Boise State keeps trying to just go all the way up without any sort of acclimating. I heard that's bad if you do that, if you're like a climber and you just try to get to the top elevation as fast as possible. Bad things will happen to you. I don't go outside, so I wouldn't know.
That'd be for the best still. It's a scary place out there. Texas makes it a scary place on Summoner's Rift as well. The 11-2-7 Rengar picks up their 2nd dragon of the game. And, you know, I mean, not that the minor defensive stats from Mountain Dragon will help. And, I mean, this game is not trending that we're going to go long enough to get Soul, unfortunately. If it does, though, Barrett, I mean, what does Boise State need to do is we're going to see Mortar trying to stop the back, takes a ton of damage. On the Hunt is popped. Right now, we'll just look to eliminate Goblin, and he will do just that.
Well, that doesn't help.
I mean, what can Boise State do, though?
It's tough, right? It needs to be a concerted effort. You have the on-the-hunt pop. We obviously know that Goblin likes to play for team, and this is definitely evident with the Sivir pick. You want to speed up your allies and get them in there to fight with ease. Lee Sin can do the same thing, maybe even use the Dragon's Rage to peel your Sivir so they can continue to poke damage on the back end. And then your Rakan and Set just go buck wild on priority targets, locking them in place for Ascent to do the damage to. That's kind of the only way. But the problem is, with the way that Texas is playing the team fights, they're forcing Boise State to scatter on every front. Look, Rengar pops the ult, and Boise State's sent running.
And Mortar gets rooted up, call the Forge Hunt. Not even able to land.
It's too late. No one's there to follow up with the damage.
Collateral damage takes out Ascent. Elo Dad going to use that big shield to do a nice chunk of damage. He will fall as well. Boise State now running for the hills. Elo Dad the next one to fall. They're not even going to need Baron here. Minions, the only thing stopping Texas as they pick up the ace. It is 32-8. The gold lead is 14K.
Keep in mind, these two members have TP, so they can make 2 separate minions invulnerable moving forward if they want to. There's the first one. Do they double TP to this? They did, so they won't need it again, though, because Boise State does not have the forces to defend this.
Respawns are fast enough that they cannot end the game. They do get the super minions in the mid lane. They're going to actually just rotate right down to this bot lane where it has been pushing. Look to maybe get a second set of super minions.
So much damage, and this lethality Graves is tearing things up. He's got the Lord Dominix as well. Whatever armor that Boise State wanted to build to defend themselves, it's gone. And truth be told, that's the right mentality to have. They have Senna with the Divine Center. They have a fed Rengar.
Oh, no.
All that physical damage. And look at this. They're doing and killing Boise State out of turret range. Here comes the Rengar to dive. That takes out one. Yellow Bumblebee looking for another one. Gets the Sonic Wave kicked onto them, but there will be no follow-up as a second inhibitor for Boise State will fall. And I don't know if Texas will turn away at this point.
Texas looking to end the game.
They're going for the throat here.
Pull the reverse sweep out in this best of 3. Mordor and company trying to defend as well as they can, but Graves is just ripping them apart. The only thing healing them is the Fountain Quickness going to be used. They get one shut down onto Graves. Call of Forge God going to knock a scent up in the air. Q does land. Lee Sin's going to take it, try and jump in. Unstoppable is used. Nice ult there from Ascent, but unfortunately, it's just more kills for this Rengar. Loopers ends up surviving. Wow. As I say that, the Q does get a kill. They'll trade out 1 for 1. They're looking to bait him right back into this Rengar. The ult is up very soon. Nice flash from Elo. Going to pull Nos right back in. Showstopper will be used. Teleport immediately being channeled by player number 6. It's all up to Yellow Bumblebee right now, trying to eliminate Mortar. Oh, barely dodges out of the dash. Yellow Bumblebee's going to pop that ult. He wants to one-shot this Lee Sin. Can he get it off?
He has the vision. He doesn't even need to worry about what his target is for the auto attack. He won't go in, though, because he knows Ascent is the bastion for hope for Boise State. The amount of damage that he's able to do to a stationary target is legendary here. And again, the main reason why Boise State is still playing this game 3.
Boise State hanging on. Thanks to Ascent. Might not be Rise World Patch, but he's doing everything he can to make it look like that. 5, 5, and 5. Nobody else. Only Mortar has more than 1 kill right now.
And again, yeah, to mention 14,000 gold going over to the Longhorns here as Texas is going to choke out any resource that Boise can use to get that crucial resource. And it's going to be a grim uphill battle. But again, if they're able to play these small contained team fights well and keep these targets isolated and locked up, Ascent can pop off, even if there's more than one, but looks to be not the case as they want to engage. Here comes all the ultimates here on the Boise State lineup. The quickness will deter things away, and the knockup will be huge. But just like that, Ascent and possibly the final hope for Boise State will be taken off the rift as Texas will march down the mid lane and look to end the game.
And Boise State defend for 35 seconds without their mid laner. That is the question. Minions doing a sizable chunk of damage. They do hook in Yellow Bumblebee. Does not have an ult available. Texas just patiently waiting, using those Heimerdinger turrets to soak tower damage. Now 20 seconds on that rise. Cry now gonna flash in, looking for a Q, not quite able to find it. Does not have the collateral damage, but he forces all of Boise State back onto the fountain. The Nexus turrets are now exposed. And usually that means the game is over.
Game's over.
Texas comes back. 2-1 winners here on the night. Started out strong for Boise State. Couldn't quite close the door fast enough in game 2, and Texas with a bit of a... Once it eventually got on the rift, not as off-meta as Baratel and I were once thinking, but still, an off-meta comp for the Longhorns pulls out a dominating game 3 victory and gives them the win. Well, don't forget, Boise State Esports is always looking for talented players, production and broadcast talent. Top talent, along with good grades and eligibility, can earn you scholarships as well. Sign up today by visiting boisestate.edu/esports for more information. Boise State, unfortunately, drops their first game in the UAL. It will fall to 0-1. Texas picking up the win here. Overall, a great series, Baratel. Boise State came out hot, really strong in game 1. Game 2 was a great start. Unfortunately, Texas survived the 25-minute onslaught and ended up turning around for the win.
Yep.
And your thoughts on what we saw here tonight on the Rift?
Yeah, a lot of promise from both teams. We saw Boise State, what they can do with the lead. They know how to close a game out. There was a little bit of a struggle there on Game 2, and they gave a little bit of time over to the Longhorns. And Game 3, the Longhorns were just completely in the driver's seat and refused to be removed. They had that 5-point harness locked up. But that being said, I think that does show the Boise State has a lot of opportunity here. I'm sure the VODs will be reviewed.
Yep.
And again, to emphasize the fact that the Longhorns needed to pull something completely left field out to get that Game 3 locked down. It is both a boon to the Boise State and how much of a challenge they served, but it's also a criticism as well to Boise State for them not being able to adapt to that. They ran something similar in terms of the comp.
Well, Boise State not able to come up with a victory. Still have the ICCU Player of the Game to hand out. Baratel, your nominations for the first ever ICCU Player of the Fall for League of Legends.
So tough.
There's two really good nominees, in my opinion.
There's really good nominees here. I got to go to Elodad. They're continuing to pop off in the top lane, continue to hold things down. Top lane was never a lane that was out of control.
Yeah, Elodad, I mean, I think the other one that you could maybe argue who was really big in their wins, unfortunately, once that Lee Sin got taken away from them, it didn't go as well. The Jarvan was still played, I think, pretty phenomenally, was Mortar on that good jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put one, though. I'm going to put my vote on Elodad.
No, give me Mortar. I think you're right. But I do think that, when Boise State won, it was on the back of Mortar getting ahead early. I think at one point, it was 5-2 in game 1, and Mortar had either all the kills or he had all 100% kill participation. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. So you'll have to see here in a little bit who ends up winning the ICCU Player of the Game. But I think all of the players for Boise State had their moments. I think, especially in game 1, game 2, Goblin was phenomenal. Ended up pulling out that respect band on that Misfortune for game 3. I mean, Ascent played phenomenally on the Corki. That Rise, as you said, was that last bastion of hope for Boise State. Unfortunately, just got picked off, and I think Light Pulse, especially in those early games
on that
Leona.
Some of those solar flares were sick. They were disgusting.
Ton of CC.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, maybe could have brought it back out, but I mean, Leona would have just been chipped down by that Senna Heimerdinger lane, so you can understand.
The Bard. Just grab the Bard next time.
Yeah, I mean, when Bard's banned all that time, and it ends up being let through. But we will see who our player of the game is going to be. I think it's me.
It's Mortar.
It's Mortar. Had a great game 1. That Dragonsteel, when Texas looked like they were coming back into it, was phenomenal. Absolutely. And you know what the biggest thing I love? Aggro on the Lee Sin. He follows the rule 1 of Lee Sin. You land the Q, you go in.
Yeah.
You don't stop. You don't maybe say, I don't really want to. He went in when he landed those Qs.
Yeah, Lee Syndrome was strong with this one.
Phenomenal on the Lee Sin. And I really think the biggest downfall when that Lee Sin was banned away is that, you had that competition over that Xin Zhao spot that Boise State didn't want to give up. I know Xin Zhao's a champion that they really like from Mortar in some games that I've heard they've seen in scrims and stuff, so just unfortunately not able to get that on the Rift. But the player of the game brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. He's a great player, makes the team more successful, just like Idaho's Central's helping members achieve financial success. Mortar is your ICCU player of the game for tonight. Well, as we prepare to put a wrap-up on this, probably not how we had hoped it would end, especially after game number 1. Baratel dying of heat. There's no Brand in the game, so I don't know how that would be possible. Your final thoughts on what you saw here tonight, Baratel, and what Boise State needs to do moving forward.
I'm so excited for this season. They have so much potential, and it's like it's a diamond, right? It just takes a little bit of refinement, chiseling here, maybe some lights over here to make those facets shine. And Boise State, I'm telling you now, mark my words, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, that will do it for the night here. We will leave you with our top 5 plays presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Not the night Boise State won it, a 2-1 loss to Texas in their first UAL game, but I'm sure they'll come back stronger next Tuesday. And here are your top 5 plays. Got to put your Yone ahead. He has been able to pick up a kill. His decent bit of damage does go out to Elodad. He's going to re-engage with the hook shot. Rift Herald in that mid lane, trying to get those free plates handed over. Yumi also going to pick it up. Hextech Ultimatum going to be able to. Showstopper does come out. Elodad's got to be careful. Great flash away.
Wow.
Barely picks it up thanks to the pass, though. I don't know if he expected his teammate to be there or not. Gets caught in the cataclysm. They're trying to give Ascent this kill, but the shield from player number 6 is going to be too much. Finally picked up there. Now teleport is going to come out.
TP.
Hextech ultimatum gets right now stuck on the wall. Double kill for Ascent. That is exactly what Boise State needed. No doubt going to use that full shield. Here comes Mortar in on the back. Might be able to do enough damage. He jumps right onto Cry now. Kick away. Elo Dad picks up the first elimination. Mortar probably just going to back away, but a Q lands.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Player number 6 has to walk away, and it's Boise State's turn to turn a tower dive into a double kill. Got to be careful here against this weapon. They handle it perfectly. 3-man.
They're trying to do the engage. Here's coming out. Here come the needles as well. All up with the undertow. But the showstopper will be here, and the engage will be huge. Unfortunately, Boise State members are in the tow, and here comes the bullet time, ripping asunder the health bars from Texas. The Longhorns need to charge away, but they cannot, and a triple kill will go over to Ascent.
Their top laner, so Gwen is stuck defending against Heraldina there. Boise State Mortar goes in with the Q, gets the steal, curse the sad money. Does stun up Boise State. Park taking a ton of damage on that Leona. They are all incredibly low. Another great Q for Mortar, does get